Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
At Life's a Beach Realty, we're all about life on the beach. Stunning Panama City Beach and one of the most beautiful properties on the Gulf Coast, Shores of Panama. Radiant, elegant, and spectacular. Steps away from white sugar sand, every room overlooks the turquoise of the Gulf of Mexico. Come in for your tour today. Life's a Beach Realty is your gateway to Shores of Panama, the shores, and a whole lot more.
Bruce Arians here with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. During these difficult times, it's important that we all show we care about our community's health. You could spread COVID-19 without knowing it. Wear a mask, wash your hands, keep your distance from each other, stay strong, and go Bucs.
Realizing my potential has been what my career has been all about. Things that I've dreamed about have actually come true.
And the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36. Unbelievable.
Things have happened in my life as I kind of hoped they would happen. It's been, just a complete evolution. You know, how I just kept kind of fighting and clawing to continue to power forward. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you keep trying to make progress. So when I look at over 20 years, I look how far I've come. But there's not one step that I took where I realized, look how far I've come. But those series of steps that I put together, I go, wow, that's quite a journey.
You're now in the Sports Web, a sports talk show for the hardcore fan. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television live here nightly, or it's live nightly now because we're a part of the Landry Football Network. You heard me right. If you didn't hear the big announcement here involving the Sports Web and Bucs Report, we are now on LandryFootball.com. We will be on his Twitch channel and a part of the Landry Football Network. So there you go, the Sports Web, the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Join the 65,000 following we have here on Facebook, of course, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And as we always start off this show, bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. On the Tonight Show, we will have the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Ozzy, the Sports Junkie. Both of these guys talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what's going around in the NFL right now with possibly no preseason games. Who's due to have a better season? Is it the New England Patriots or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? We'll definitely get into that. And then we'll have one of our newest writers here at 9:30, Mr. Anthony Bamunde. talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what he is working on. We'll have Joshua Cole-Allen, another new writer. We call him the Grinder here at 10 o'clock at 10:40, Mr. Rick Hughes. And then, of course, your phone call, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Happy Independence Day. If I don't get a chance to tell you, July 4th, be safe with the fireworks, social distance, of course, and definitely enjoy the times, if you will, on this weekend. So we will definitely try to give you as much Bucs content tonight and around the NFL. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get the legend himself on. Mr. Leo Haggerty, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. And the big story of the week to start it out was not only the cancellation of basically preseason with only having 2 games, but now, according to Dan Graziano of ESPN, on Thursday night, the NFL Players Association called. The Union Board of Reps voted unanimously to recommend that the NFL play no preseason games this year. It's unclear whether the league, which has already decided to cut the preseason from 4 games to 2, will consider the recommendation. What are you thinking at this point? Are we going to have a preseason this year? And you've been a former coach and a scout before. Do NFL players really need that preseason?
Oh, they do now, Peter. That's for sure, because they've had no training camp. They've had no OTAs. They've had nothing. Yeah, you need to get in football shape. It does take time. Do they need preseason games? No, probably 1. But I think what's in jeopardy is the season, period. And people better start looking. I don't know if you caught what Governor Cuomo did the other day. He banned fans from all sporting events in the state of New York. Now, does that affect the Giants and the Jets because they're in New Jersey? Good question. We'll have to find that out. But, hey, Peter, this is no laughing matter anymore. That's the problem, is people aren't taking this seriously, and they need to.
Yeah, they definitely need to take it seriously, Leo. And here's the thing, it kind of goes back to Daniel Kaplan of The Athletic, and here's a report that the NFL is going to approach it state by state, county by county. So just because New York and New Jersey may not necessarily have fans, it doesn't necessarily mean the Bucs won't be able to have fans. So they're going to definitely do a case-by-case study at this juncture. So with all that being said, the other big story of the day or the week was Antonio Brown. And Bruce Arians kind of, put out the rumor in March when he went on the Tiki and Tyranny show, saying in so many words, he's not a fit. He's not going to fit in this locker room. We don't have the room for him. They draft Tyler Johnson in the 5th round. They have Scotty Miller already on this a team. And then this rumor comes out from Mike Lombardi and JT the Brick, where they say that Antonio Brown could be signing with the Buccaneers. My first thought is it's got to be Tom Brady pushing this, or like Chris Landry said on Wednesday night, it has to be Browns people pushing it.
My big question, Peter, one word, why? What do you need him for? You've got wide receivers out the yin-yang. You've got tight ends out the yin-yang. You don't need him. And all that is, and again, everybody talks about distractions in the locker room. There's no such thing as a distraction in the locker room when you're winning. When you're losing, you're looking for reasons. I think this would be a bad move. I think Arians knows it's a bad move. And if Tom Brady comes in, I think Arians needs to put the daggone foot down and say, hey, Tom, we're fine. You just go out and quarterback.
Where do you think he ends up? Is it Baltimore with his cousin and Marquise Hollywood Brown, as people would say here, with Lamar Jackson, or he was seen working out with Russell Wilson? Do you think he ends up with the Seattle Seahawks? Where would you put Brown at?
Probably in the XFL, because I don't think anybody will take a chance on him. Okay. It's just it probably won't happen, Peter, until maybe a significant injury or two. Then all of a sudden things happen. And the funny thing about the NFL is somebody thinks they're Father Flanagan. They think they can end up taking this guy and basically curing him of whatever he has. Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen. You know, the leopard has the spots. You know, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And this is something I don't think you really got to be back against the wall or think that you are one player away from going to that next level to compete in Tampa for the Super Bowl. God forbid if it doesn't play. But I just don't. It's definitely not a fit for the Bucs. Absolutely not. I'll tell you where the fit is. But I don't think anybody will do it. Green Bay. They have no wide receivers. You put him out there with Aaron Rodgers, look out. But again, you're always got to be looking over your shoulder going, oh, God, don't do something stupid. And that's the problem.
And we're on with one of the smartest guys here on the sports web. That would be the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions at Sports Mag on the evolution of sports talk television. It's the sports web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about now, a part of the Landry Football Network. Just saying. All right, let's go out to Randy Moss and his comments. He had a lot of concerns about the Bucs and Tom Brady and what he could do with this team going forward in 2020. And the reason is because this offensive line and then the 5-year career hasn't been able to protect Jameis Winston. Do you feel like Randy Moss has a point here that this is going to be the biggest question mark in 2020, this offensive line? Or do you think Tom Brady can counteract that by getting rid of the ball quicker?
Oh, that's what Tom Brady did up in New England. He gets rid of the ball quickly. He is a master at pre-snap reads, Peter. He will find a way. And again, I was talking to Greg Cosell Tuesday night on my show, and I said, Greg, all New England does is they go empty and they bring the running back in. Well, guess what? If somebody runs with him, it's man. If nobody does, it's zone. So Brady has a clue right there. I don't know why every team doesn't do that, just to find out what's going on. But the concern is 43 years old. He's one hit away. And again, the offensive line is not the greatest in the league. We know that. If they can keep his sacks down to probably under 15, that's a good season. You know, less than 1 a game, that would be great. But you know what? He's going to get sacked. That's just what happens. That's part of football. And we just hope it's not a sack that puts him out of commission.
Yeah, and I think that's a big time concern with them. Also, the running game, and this also, just reading an article today from Bill Bender of the Sporting News, they were basically running down who has more of an impact at this point. Of course, the Patriots earlier this week signed Cam Newton. First, want to get your thoughts about that, and then we'll go into this article. Cam Newton to the New England Patriots for $7.5 million. 1-year contract. It looks like he could be healthy. But this is a great risk by the Patriots. Do you think this makes them a playoff team and possibly a Super Bowl contender, even with one of the toughest schedules in the NFL?
Yeah, because they play in the AFC East. You're going to play Miami twice. You're going to play the Jets twice. And you're going to play Buffalo twice. Okay, that makes you probably 4-2 at worst in your own division.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Cam Newton fan. I'll tell you what. If Tom Brady took the hits Cam Newton took, we wouldn't even be having this discussion because for some reason, because Cam Newton is big, strong, and healthy, you were able to hit him and referees just kind of looked the other way. I mean, you've hit Tom Brady some of the ways they hit Cam Newton. You knew you'd be out of the league. That's just the way it is. And I'll tell you what, I think it's a great move by Belichick. It's $7.5 million, Peter, but it's not guaranteed. Only $500,000 guaranteed. The rest are incentives.
Wow.
So he's making 7.5. They're going to playoffs.
Well, I think it's an upgrade over Jarrett Stidham and Joshua Cole Allen, one of our newest writers.
Hey, Peter, you and I are an upgrade over Derek Stidham. Let's be honest here.
I mean, he's never played a snap in the NFL, and people are trying to tell me, especially Joshua Cole Allen, who's known the Patriots for a while here. He believes Belichick has got that magical touch with quarterbacks in the past, and he's got a point. When Brady went out, Matt Castle went 10-5. When Brady went out with the suspension, you have Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy Garoppolo. They had a winning record, but here is a player who's never taken a snap. Yeah, Brian Hoyer. Hoyer's a backup for a reason. He understands the system, but he's never going to get you over the top. So I feel like you have to take that opportunity, especially when you said how much is really guaranteed. 500,000 is only guaranteed in that whole deal. So for me, Cam Newton is definitely an upgrade. Now the big key is, can he get Bill Belichick's system? Would you expect him to start right away over Stidham, or do you think Stidham starts a couple games until Newton gets comfortable?
I think that's, Peter, exactly what's going to go down, especially if there's no preseason.
Okay.
You're asking a guy to come in and pick up a system without – but Peter, I don't know how they're going to practice.
Yeah.
I mean, you look what baseball is doing. You're allowed 6 guys or 7 guys or 8 guys in a group. You got to get 22 to practice.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad the defense is. That's not social distancing. It's just not going to happen.
No.
And Peter, I wouldn't be surprised to see them wear masks or everybody with a face shield on. I don't know what's going to happen if someone tests positive.
Mm-hmm.
What's the league going to do? Is it going to be on a game by game? Is it going to be on a team by team? Is it going to be player by player? I'll tell you what, if Tom Brady gets test positive, you can bet your bottom dollar he's not sitting out 14 days. I'm sorry. That's just not going to happen. So I think the league needs to figure out what's going on, and the players want to know. That's the problem. The players want to know. Well, we're not going to go in this and say, well, we'll figure it out as we go. No. You need answers now.
I don't know if I ever asked you this, but do you really have a problem with Tom Brady conducting these personal workouts? Because it seems
absolutely. Yes.
You do have
only because of the pandemic.
Okay.
If there wasn't a pandemic, go at it, big boy. But it's just the Players Association said, please stay away from this. We don't want to expose people because we may not get through the preseason. We may not get through training camp.
Mm-hmm.
Tom kind of poo-pooed that. And I'm a little concerned about that he was putting himself above the safety of his teammates.
Well, I think he's in a safe environment. You're outside. I don't think they're spitting on each other. I think they're conducting a workout and he's trying to get ready. I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And by, with that being said, Brady, the last couple of years hasn't really participated in those off-season workouts. Now he is participating because he wants to get his team ready and because of COVID-19. So I feel like it's not like he's in a bar, Leo. It's not like he's participating in some shenanigans like some other players. And we may find out with the NBA.
Well, the problem is one of the players that was involved in the workout may have been in that shenanigans. See, they don't know that.
Right.
And Peter, it's all about risk reward. You've heard me preach this for years now. Is the risk worth the reward? Absolutely not here. I mean, you're going to have time. It's not going to be like you're going to show up and in 4 days you're going to play a game. We know that's not going to happen. So I think that it was not a good move for Brady once they told them to back off. When he didn't back off, now the daggone executive director has to say, well, Tom, you and Russell Wilson need to stop this. Period. End of story.
And we got the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty. We're posting it on Ozzy the Sports Junkie, but I guess he's running a little bit late tonight, so we'll just have to table that. Maybe get him on another show or something along those lines. Of course, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions. It's Sports Mag. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Going back to this article from Bill Bender of the Sporting News, he basically says in so many words, he feels like the Patriots will have more of an advantage than the Bucs. And the reason why he puts this out there, first, he starts off with Vegas, both of them coming in with 9.5 wins. That's to be expected. He says with New England, their domination over the division, 52-15. But of course, Brady's going into a tougher division. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I get it. The Saints are probably a contender. I'm looking at Carolina right now. They're rebuilding. I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not really sure about them. So I don't know if this is a tougher division per se. And I think you could also make the case that even though the Saints are in contention, it just takes one injury to Drew Brees. And basically, I don't think they're in contention anymore. Then he also brings up the fact of the defense only giving up 14.1. And the thing that really gets me out of this article, he says, Well, the weapons are there for Tampa, but the weapons are better for New England because of the running game. Is that fair?
I don't know what he's seeing.
That's all-
That's what?
right. Right.
Okay, let's go down a list. Okay, Mike Evans, Godwin, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, Rod Gronkowski.
Right.
Okay, where does New England put anybody above those five? I think they may get Julian Edelman somewhere at 3 or 4, but after that, it goes 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 for the Bucs. Hey, if this is a cross-country race, it's over. I don't know what the running game. Come on, it's a passing league. It just is. And again, I asked Bruce Arians that same question: how are you going to improve the running game? He goes, not play from behind. That's the thing. Now, you know that's a great answer. Don't play from behind. Peter, when we look at what's going to happen, I think 10 wins a lot of divisions this year, simply because of lack of preparation by teams. And again, just think if Levante David tests positive, and now you got to try to find a guy to call. I mean, the scenarios
say that
the scenarios are monumentally catastrophic. A double SAT word for the SAT and ACT word, but I'm thinking, Peter. Here's two things, and again, Ozzy calls me Leo Stradamus because I've been kind of right lately. I think two things are going to happen. One, I think the NFL is going to treat this like the flu. That if a player gets sick, they're going to say, okay, fine. When he's healthy, come back. The second thing, I think they're going to open up stadiums and say, come at your own risk. Now, the problem is New York right now, because the one thing the NFL prides themselves on is a competitive balance. If you're playing home games with nobody there and then you go on the road and the stands are packed, that's not competitive balance. So until they can get New York on board, and they got the same problem in Houston, they got the same problem in California, it's going to be a problem, Peter. And if the NFL decides to go, okay, come at your own risk, if I'm an owner and I'm, Robert Kraft, wait, hold it. If I'm one of the Maras, wait, hold it. You're telling me it's a competitive balance and I can't have fans? No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, and we're on with Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions. It's Sports Mag here on the evolution of sports talk television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Just going back to that article, they also talk about Julian Edelman with 100 receptions, but he's getting up there. I think that's more of a product of Tom Brady. They also go down the list of first-year quarterbacks. Now, this is very interesting. Joe Montana in his first year with the Kansas City Chiefs, 11-5. A one-game improvement over Steve Young and the San Francisco 49ers. Both of those teams in their respective conferences getting to their championship games. Brett Favre, 9-7, a 3-game improvement when he started for the Jets over Aaron Rodgers, 6-10, excuse me. And then Manning, 13-3 with the Broncos, 2 games over. So they're kind of comparing it and saying that, there is some type of difference. There can be a difference, but not a big difference. Do you feel like this is also a statistic that we should take a look at, where it could only be because the Bucs were 7-9 with Brady coming in, there'll be only about a 2-game improvement or 3-game improvement?
Oh, I'd take 3 games right now.
Okay.
I'd take 10-6 and run to the bank and cash it.
Okay.
Again, Peter, I just think that's what's going to be happening. That you're not going to see a 12-14 simply because of preparation, and we don't know what's going to happen. We have no idea how the league's going to deal with this. We have no idea how. Let's say, God forbid, one of the teams tests positive for 10 players. And they can't play, or the league says, okay, fine. Well, the visiting team may say, we're not coming. Right. And that's a problem. If we go back to 9/11 and the NFL was going to play that Sunday after 9/11.
Right.
The reason why they didn't is the Jets said, we are not getting on a plane and going to Oakland. And it wasn't the Oakland part. We aren't getting on a plane, period. We will forfeit, period. And the NFL, bang. The biggest mistake, and if you ever read Pete Rozell's book or listen, they asked Pete Rozell, what's the biggest mistake you made? He goes, playing after the Kennedy assassination.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I sat there and I won a bet in the Bucs locker room because they said they're going to play. I said, I'll bet you a steak dinner. They're not playing. It's just not going to happen because this is, again, risk reward. I will preach that till the day I die. Look at the risk, look at the reward. It wasn't worth it.
Speaking of the risk reward, there was another story out there that the NFL is exploring the possibility of fans signing a waiver to go to NFL football games. First and foremost, do you think this happens? And if you are a fan, would you sign a waiver to watch your favorite NFL football team?
Me at 67 or me as a fan at 30?
You as a fan at 30. We'll go that way because I know what you were thinking.
Yes, I would sign and go, and I'd wear a mask, and I'd be fine. Me at 67, no. I've got to watch where I go. Again, I got a wife with leukemia at home here, so we kind of limited where we go and what we do. Peter, since March, I can count on one hand the times my wife has been out of the house. So again, it's serious for us people up in our 60s. And you saw the interview I had with Bruce Arians. I said, Coach, you're the most susceptible. He's sitting there going, yeah, you're right. I am.
Right.
And I still say he may end up in the press box coaching the game because if he gets it, now what do you do? I mean, he's got to be the one that's social distancing.
Any concern about Shaq Barrett and signing his franchise tag because he's come out lately on Sirius NFL radio saying that he's going to sign it. And then there were some complications with his house burning down. So do you think they'll get that done with him, with getting that franchise tag done? Any concern about that at all?
Normally, Peter, I would say yes, because you can sit out 6 weeks, sign it then, and end up getting a full year of towards your pension. But I think he's going to sign it. Okay. It's just a matter of, when. And I think it'll be before the season starts.
And speaking of concern and some risk here, would you see some players possibly sitting out? Like Malcolm Jenkins was kind of talking about, I'm not going to come back unless it's all safe. You've had baseball players this week. You've also had NBA players. Victor Oladipo just said he's not going to opt into this season. So could you see eventually in the future here some NFL players basically say, you know what, I'm not going to come back to my team. I'm not going to risk it for my family. Or do you think every player will be in this year?
Peter, I think it'll start with every player in. But if all of a sudden you see a spike with some teams, you may see guys say, man, you know what? I'm going to take discretion as the better part of valor here. Again, I looked at some video of some players that basically said, look, I am a little concerned, not because of me catching it, but me bringing it home to my children, my wife, or my mother and father, or my grandmother and grandfather. I mean, it's just not it. Peter, we have no answers. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. It's not like, well, let's say, hey, Roger Goodell, go open up your playbook where it says chapter on pandemics. How do you deal? Oh, guess what? It's a blank page. So this is something. Again, Peter, we're trying to open up schools in Florida, in Hillsborough County, knowing there is no right answer. The NFL has no right answer, and that's the problem. It's going to be the best wrong answer. That's never a good thing.
I got to read this really quick. Ozzy has been abducted by the Chinese organ thieves and stole his internet connection. They demand $20K in cash or the bones of Hugh Culverhouse. That's Ozzy, the sports junkie. So he will not be joining us tonight, but we got Leo Haggerty on. Go ahead and promote yourself, my friend. Go ahead and tell them where they can find you and, of course, read your work. Are you on Twitter? Have you embraced this century, or are you still in the dark ages?
I've embraced Twitter, Peter, but I don't want to tell you about it because if I do, you got to give equal time to people. I'll explain that later. But you can find me at www.itsportsmag.com. And Rob Crete just wrote a great article on the poster child for deferred payments, Bobby Bonilla, who is going to get paid till 2035. He hits the lottery every July 1 for $1.2 million. What a great move.
What a great move, and I can't believe his agent isn't most likely the agent of the year. And that general manager.
Oh, he's the agent of the century with that, Peter. Come on.
It's amazing. Absolutely. And we got the Leo Haggerty here, the legend himself. Thanks a lot for joining me here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, It's Sports Mag. Thanks for your time. All right, boss?
Peter, it's always a pleasure, and I'll talk to you next Friday, God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Absolutely. There you go. Leo Haggerty on the sports web. So let's go out to the web heads, and then we'll get one of our newest writers on, Mr. Anthony Bamunde, here on the sports web. All right, so let's go out to Scooter, vote for EMT. Ashley, okay. Gabe says, what's up, BR? Dramatic pause is back. All right, got you. Yo says, best virtual edits video. Johnny Dean, you here? He is, I think. Same to you, Peter. Stay safe. Thank you very much. Everyone pray for JPP. Stop it. I'll tell you what, let's go out to Ozzy, the sports junkie here really quick. Ozzy, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Pete. I'm doing good, brother. Sorry, I missed the call once again.
No, that's
okay.
I
get bumped, man. I apologize. My internet, I think they were out playing some things in my yard, and they cut the line because I've been internetless.
Well,
but I just wanted to touch base, man. I caught the last few minutes of Leo there.
Yeah, and the big story is, and we got Anthony Bamunde coming on here, so just stand by. We're going to talk.
Absolutely, I don't want to throw off.
Oh, no.
You are a scheduling hound, boy. You had Chris Landry on yesterday, I take it?
Yes, well, we're a part of the Landry Football Network now, Ozzy.
You are the man.
It's
You're
awesome.
The man, Pete.
It's awesome. Well, Bucs report.
I say DJ Spider. Jiggy with it.
Well, don't tell people
awesome,
that.
Man.
Thank you very
that
much.
Was beautiful.
Thank you. Don't
love the passion. Love your passion, man.
Yes.
Radio's an addiction. You can't let it go.
No, absolutely. I love the sports web. I love what we provide here on Bucs Report. Yeah.
The big rumors, Antonio Bryant might still, like, the ashes might be still ambering. There might be a little bit of flame there.
Well, this was a story that came out from Mike Lombardi and JT the Brick. And look, they've been around in league circles. They do a great job, but I kind of feel like this is more Browns people. And this is what kind of Chris Landry was alluding to on Wednesday night. He was talking about this. This could be Mr. Big Chest, which he calls himself that. His people kind of putting it out there, but who knows? I don't think it's a fit. I never thought it was a fit, even though Arians and Brown have worked together. I feel like the Bucs have enough wide receivers there. But then again,
I mean, if I'm looking at a former Steeler, I'm going to look at Le'Veon Bell or somebody like that. I don't think they have any money to bring anybody in.
Exactly.
And receiver is one thing that we've got plenty of supply.
Right. Exactly. You got plenty of wide receivers. You draft Tyler Johnson, even though Johnson may not be as effective this year because he's going to miss out on those reps because of COVID-19. I still feel like it's an upgrade over anything you got. And then on top of it, Brown being a cancer and having the off-the-field stuff and even the on-the-field stuff, I just can't depend on him. So I think, to me, that story at this point is kind of nonsense. But, the other big stories has been Cam Newton, of course, signing with the New England Patriots for $7.5. But as Leo said, it's $500,000 is the only thing that's guaranteed, so it's all incentive based. Do you feel like it makes the Patriots not only a playoff contender but also a Super Bowl contender?
I don't think about Super Bowl. They might make a postseason with Cam Newton, but we'll see how it goes. It's funny. Some guys go to New England and they flourish and they thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys go there and remember Ocho Cinco finished his career there very unceremoniously.
Correct.
And several other guys have gone there. You take a Randy Moss. He was a problem child headed there. It's not Cam Newton's not a problem child, but I could definitely see some friction when he comes to podium with his dress up du jour. I mean, he had some outfits that are just laughable. And it's passing Bill Belichick. I mean, he runs a no nonsense organization up there. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't think they have enough talent to make a Super Bowl push. They'll be lucky to make the playoffs. And if Newton doesn't work out and that team is like headed south below 500. I expect him to start all rookies, tank it, and get the kid from Clemson next year.
Yeah, that's how I kind of thought. Everybody was trying to kind of sell me on Jarrett Stidham starting, but for me, he's never taken a snap in the NFL. So look, if you want to start him and see what you have, and then it blows up in your face, then you can definitely go for Trevor Lawrence. But it certainly seems like this organization, namely Bill Belichick, feels like Newton definitely has something left in the tank. Who do you feel like does better? Because reading this article right now from the Sporting News, the guy's basically trying to tell me that the Patriots are a better team at this point and have more of a better opportunity to make the playoffs than the Bucs. What do you think?
Well, that's insanity.
Right, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
They lost to the Dolphins the last game of the season. They got blown out of the building by the Titans, a team that we held pretty tight when we played them. So that's kind of, I think they had a lot of talent earlier in the season. Remember when they had Antonio Brown, they went down to Miami and just toyed with them.
Sure.
And the first pass of the first touchdown of the game was Brady to Antonio Bryant. But yeah, that guy's a cancer. Since when do the Pittsburgh Steelers have bad guys? I mean, Le'Veon Bell, he kind of came off looking bad sitting out.
Sure.
For the quarterbacks, he's had notable run-ins with the law.
Right.
And unlike our last quarterback that we had, and now this Antonio Brown tops them all. This guy's just a piece of work. So I don't know what happened to the once proud Steelers. They're still a good football team, but I don't know. Maybe discipline isn't one of head coach up there, former Buck Mike Tomlin's strong points.
Well, you definitely got to pat Mike Tomlin on the back for keeping that team together with all those personalities. And it comes down to, with every team, the way they view these guys. Does the talent supersede everything else? And it certainly seemed like at the beginning it did for the Steelers. And we're on with Ozzy the Sports Junkie here of the Ozzy the Sports Junkie network here on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. The other story is that it looks like the NFL Players Association, after the NFL has put out that they're cutting the preseason to only 2 games after 4, and we kind of talked about this about a month ago. Now the Players Association on Thursday night, according to Dan Graziano, has said that they maybe don't want to play a preseason at all. How do you feel like this affects the teams in 2020?
I think you got to have some kind of preseason. I mean, a minimal of 1 game, would you think?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can. I don't know. I don't know if you guys broke this down. I caught the tail end of Leo there. I just can't see camps opening, people inviting, or teams inviting to Florida, Miami, Jacksonville, which is now the epicenter of the hotbed of COVID-19. I got a feeling it's going to be pushed back. They're going to push back the start of camps. That's just my take. That's my feel. I can't see. They chewed on Brady's rear end for getting together with 5 of his teammates over that high school field up there.
Right.
Imagine if they get, Pete. I mean, how many guys come into training camp with coaches and players? There's 100 guys on the field every day.
Yeah.
So how's that work? And it's not like in the days of old at Disney when they got them sequestered, where they could keep everybody nice and bubbled in. They all go home at night and they go to their families who are out. I mean, it's just, I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm sick of thinking and talking about it. But I guess we're going to talk about it until it's gone. And it would be really easy if we were headed back to the same old.
Right.
But the most exciting team in Buccaneer history, the most flash, they're the it team. They're going to be the story of the week every week of the NFL season.
Yeah.
And we got this to deal with. But I guess we've been through worse, so we'll get through it somehow. And I think of all the major sports, though, football will be the one. They will go out of their way to make sure that there's a season.
Yeah, and I think they're going to look at baseball and basketball and what the NHL does, and already you have some positive tests with the NBA. But, the other story that came out is that the NFL was kind of investigating or proposing putting, a waiver for fans to sign. If you're a fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or another NFL football team, would you sign that waiver and take the chance to go and watch a football game, or are you going to stay at home?
I'll tell you, if I believe the government, which nobody does. They say if you have a mask and gloves on, you have 0% chance. So a mask and gloves. I don't have any problem sitting in the stadium with a mask and gloves on.
Right.
I use gloves when I go to the bathroom there anyway. 80% of the people piss all over the toilet seat. So, if that's what they're telling us, I'd wear sunglasses. I'd wear a visor too. So I don't have any problem. How pathetic. I thought of this. How's this for a nightmare scenario?
Mm-hmm.
The Bucs make the Super Bowl. and play in an empty Raymond James Stadium. I mean, talk about winning and losing. That would just be our luck, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. We're on with Ozzy, the Sports Junkie here of the Ozzy, the Sports Junkie Network on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Yeah, I mean, I hear fans say it. They would say that, probably the younger generation is, saying I would sign the waiver. I want to see the Bucs. I want to see my favorite NFL team. But the older generation is susceptible to it, so you can understand.
Sure.
And I just asked Leo about it. He's 67. He said, look, I would sign it when I'm 30, which, it seemed like it was 100 years back. But now he's 67, so, of course, he wouldn't sign that waiver. So
I don't know. He's probably in better shape than either one of us. Every time I have Leo on my airwave, catch him, he's out riding his 3 miles at night. This guy's like Rocky.
You got to do his impression there, Ozzy. You got to give everybody the Leo impression.
First couple times, I thought, boy, Leo really likes being on with me. But then I realized he was jogging. I was like, hey, what odds? They need to work on that secondary. I love Leo.
I love him too.
The first, and I first caught him, and I hadn't talked to him in years because I dipped away from the radio mic a little bit myself. Sure. And I heard him on your show. You were on terrestrial still, I believe. Yes. I caught you on IM, and I texted in, and he goes, oh, there's Ozzy. Oh, he's alive. He's alive. So we rekindled our friendship, and through our friendship, I came in touch with you and all the great guys at Buccaneer Report and stuff. So it's all one big family. Let's just get this family up and running, man.
Yeah, no,
as far
absolutely.
as our football team, because God only knows we need a stress valve. We need a relief valve, and it breaks my heart when you see other countries. They had this thing progression wise in May.
Sure.
In July, the end of July, maybe less than 100 cases a day, and here we are at 5,000 a day. So
yeah,
I don't know what the NFL does. I don't see how the NFL can. I talked to Leo the other day about it. I said, and it's not a shocker. The coach of our team, 67, he's a cancer survivor. He's literally taking his life into his hands. And if you think he sat in that golf cart a lot last year, he's not getting out of it this year.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Pope mobile. He's not coming in contact with anybody.
Well, Ozzy, here's the funny thing, though. He even said this last year when we were talking about it. He got hired, and everybody was kind of questioning his health. He said he would die for whatever he loves to do. So I'm like,
well, that's true.
I mean,
get a Super Bowl out of him.
Right.
Let's do it.
I mean,
let's just ride this guy into the grave. No, in all seriousness,
right.
I never had a problem with him being in a golf cart. I mean, my God, if you go outside in the middle of the day,
sure,
it's hotter than Hades.
Yes.
So, I mean but it's a real thing, man. I mean, is that what it's going to take? And you look it up and down Major League Baseball benches and NBA. There's a lot of old timers who are coaches, and they're very susceptible to not only getting this COVID but dying. So I hate to be all gloom and doom, and I'd much rather talk about X's and O's. But
sure,
the reality of it is, it's like a big elephant in the room that no one's talking about, and college football hasn't even addressed it. College football is all over the map as far as some teams are in, some teams are out, and the sad thing about that is that college football pays for everything as far as college sports. I mean, if you have a year without football, college football, you can see some programs that are just hanging on by a thread. All their athletics could be wiped out. So that's really kind of sad about. That could be tragic about that, but
yeah,
we deal with one tragedy at a time.
I kind of feel like
they cut my internet line, Pete. They planted some kind of plan out there. My internet line was dead this morning, and hell has no fury. My girlfriend's throwing through things with the windows at me.
Oh,
she thinks I was out there jerking around in the attic, my little cubby hole up there, my little Buck Central. But it'll all be good. What are you doing for the 4th of July? I'm gonna go out and blow up I'm gonna burn a Ray Perkins doll in effigy.
I think I'm gonna relax by the pool. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm not gonna go out. I'm gonna try to social distance. If I go out into a large crowd, which I'm probably not gonna do, I'm probably just gonna lay low. Honestly, that's what I'm gonna do here.
I'm right there with you, buddy. There's a park down the street from us as we speak is lighting up fire. It sounds like Beirut over there. I never got the whole
Beirut.
Load up everything we own and go sit at a hot, miserable beach for 12 hours.
Right.
Then by the time you're just about to punch each other in the face, you and your wife or whoever you go with it, you're going to wind up hot with. You get the fireworks, and then you're caught in traffic for 12 hours to get off the beach and back to your house. and God forbid you got to work the next day.
Right.
So,
I live.
I
live.
done that. Don't
Yeah.
ever want to do it again.
Yeah, I live 10 minutes away from Clearwater Beach, and I can never get up early. You have to get up about 9, 10 o'clock. And if you don't get up, then you get stuck in traffic. I'm not getting stuck in traffic.
Spend 12 hours on the beach.
I can't. I can't. You'll just burn up around with Ozzy, the sports junkie here on the Ozzy.
I can lay on a cruise ship pool for about 12 hours.
There you go.
That's in and out of the casino. Maybe hit the buffet a little bit. But.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this interview up here. Do you think there could be some players that basically opt out and say, you know what, we're not going to play this season?
I think you could be looking at that. That thing came up and went away very quickly when the players said, we might just protest the season for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Sure.
And to be honest, never a better time for something like that. Nobody wants to see that.
Right.
I mean, I'm all for their cause and everything and getting attention to it. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be a Vegas bet. I guarantee there's a prop on this. Does Drew Brees kneel game one? The only thing he has to. If he does it, the rest of the teammates going to hate him.
Yeah.
He'll kneel for game one. I guarantee it. There'll be so much pressure on him from his own teammates because, he kind of got screwed a little bit. All he said was he thinks of his grandfathers and their patriotic duty in World War II, but he totally missed the message that the players they're not after the flag. They're after their own civil rights. So.
Correct. It's timing. It's all about timing. That's what it was. It was
it's
not
what he
the best
didn't
timing.
say is what they got mad about.
Exactly.
But I don't see any problem with that. Drew Brees he's the mayor of that town, and his teammates love him, and I'm sure that all's well there. But again, you've been to the Superdome. That place is a rocket, man. It only holds 70,000. It seems like 700,000. And if it's opening day with nobody in the Superdome, man, that's going to be bizarre. But I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what happens, as they like to say. If you put a gun to my head, Pete, I say I'll push for a later start. Let the numbers come down in Florida, starting maybe October. Push the season back, either cut it short or push the Super Bowl to March. Okay. And then we can stop talking about these stupid diseases and start talking about Bucs football.
Thank you. Absolutely. Ozzy, the sports junkie, thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution.
I apologize for the delayed start, but I've got top men working on this as we speak.
No
top
problem.
Men.
I know you do. I definitely know you do, Ozzy. So we'll definitely get you back on here on the Sports Web.
You got it. Love the show, buddy.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. Love your show too, buddy. All right.
See ya.
See you, buddy. All right, there you go. So Ozzy, the sports junkie, we got him on a little bit later. Sometimes that happens. You just got to run with it here. You got to run with me on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Join the 65,000 following we have here on Facebook, of course, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I tell you what, let's take this call. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Gary Judger, and I'm calling from Sydney, Australia.
How you doing, Gary? Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. You wrote some type of book. I believe it's NFL Cliches. What's on your mind tonight, boss?
Right. Well, I wrote the sorry, I thought we cut out for a second. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yes, absolutely. Loud and clear.
Yeah. NFL Cliches. Yeah, just go to NFLcliches.com and you can get a copy. But if anybody's listening to the show, I'll for the first person from the show to mention it, go to the website. I'll give them a free copy.
Okay.
And basically, it's 1,000 NFL cliches and cynical grabs after each cliche and crazy cartoons and just a bit of fun in these times of no football and weird times in the world. But apart from that, I'm Australia's biggest NFL fan. I get up early in the morning to watch the games. I record them. I watch NFL live all the time, and stumbled upon you through Facebook.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
So you're international.
Well,
you're
thank you.
International man of mystery.
Thank you. I hope I look better than Austin Powers. That's for sure. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Gary, they put out there the NFL could be exploring the possibility of signing a waiver to go to a football game. You're a big-time NFL fan. Would you be signing that waiver? And tell me about Australia right now. What's the COVID-19 outlook for you guys?
Okay. Well, two things. Firstly, I would sign the waiver.
Okay.
Because I'm like, well, if you want to go to the game, I mean, look, the NFL, they can't not have people sign the waiver, because could you imagine afterwards the lawsuits and so on? So that would be out of control. Now, the thing is, people could get the COVID-19 from anywhere. They could get it on the train or the bus or on the way there, on the way back. They could get it in the supermarket, getting, whatever, you know what I mean? If they're tailgating, you get what I'm saying. They could get it at any time.
Absolutely.
But nobody knows exactly. The only way you know exactly, you can pinpoint it, is these hubs if you're living or working in somewhere very specific. Now, that could happen at the stadium. Now, I would sign it, because I'm like, if you really want to go, sign, you're basically just saying, hey, I'm not going to sue you and so on. And I understand what litigation's like in America. It's pretty big at different times. Now, in Australia, our COVID cases are much, much less. Because we're an island, similar to New Zealand, we're able to lock things down. The government, both governments, were stricter on movement and so on. Now, one of our rugby league teams is based in New Zealand.
Okay.
So they made a decision that we want to continue on the competition. So we're going to base ourselves in Australia and be away from their families. This is the players and coaches, because we want to keep playing in the competition. So that's what they've done. They've gone away from their family and friends and so on, and it's tough, but they say, hey, otherwise there probably wouldn't be a competition without them. So that's what they've done. Now, we played 2 weeks of the competition. The second week of the competition, they said no crowds. This is back in March. And then we were in a 9-week hiatus. And the new head of the NRL, National Rugby League, said, we're going to come back on the 28th of May by hook or by crook. And we've got biosecurity people in charge. We've got if a player's living at a certain place, that gets checked out, and so on. Some players were moved on because there was grandparents living in the home. So these players were like, okay, you've got to move in with another player or somebody, and so on. We started back 28th of May. Cardboard cutouts all around. For the most part, the cardboard cutouts have been well behaved. There's been a couple of cases. I don't think maybe 1 or 2 had to be thrown out. But I'm just joking there.
Of course you are.
Basically, we've done that up until this weekend. 2 weekends ago, they said that corporates could come in and watch some games. And now this weekend, they're letting up to 25% capacity. So, so if the stadium can fit 50,000, they can have 10 to 12,000 people in. If you're with your family, you can sit together because you've obviously come there together and you live together. But other than that, it's like there's a 4 square meter rule. So basically, you have to sit at a distance. Now, they haven't made people wear masks, but I'm sure if they said to the people, you've got to wear masks or sign a waiver, I think most would still do that, because they're like, well, we want to go to the games. So the games were there was a big effort to get the games back on,
right?
Because without the games, the teams and the league don't get the TV money, and they're like, well, we can't really afford a whole season without that money. And so there's been a lot of cost cutting at a lot of the different clubs. A lot of assistants and so on have been let go, unfortunately. Less crowds means less transport. So those people have missed out. Food and beverage, that's obviously way down. But the main thing for our football, like it will be with the NFL, is the TV rights. And they're like, okay. And they also got the players to agree when they went back that they would agree to take 80% of their wages. So a 20% reduction.
Okay.
Which I think is a little bit generous towards the players, I think, because they cut down a quarter of the games through the season. So basically, when we came back, they said, okay, we're not going to have the full season of games. We're going to cut back by a quarter. And also, but we're going to extend the season past the due date. So usually our grand final, Super Bowl is at the end of September, first weekend of October.
Sure.
They're extending, which would be like you guys at the beginning of February. So what they've said is, well, hang on, we'll just continue on through October, which would be like the NFL continuing on through February. So that's what they've done here. And so far, we haven't had to cancel any games. We've moved games around.
Okay.
And also, another thing they've done is they've picked 6 hubs, so where the games go on. So, you'll have, because, we didn't have crowds, or we've got limited crowds now.
Sure.
You've got, say, 3 different teams or 4 different teams will play in one location. So, you've picked up a couple in Queensland and New South Wales and different things. So the more modern stadiums, so the newer stadiums. So my thoughts would be, say, for argument's sake, you're going to do it in the NFL. Vegas and Los Angeles have got 2 brand new stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
So probably for the teams, or maybe you could do Arizona. So, they're large areas, so there'd be more hotels, there'd be different things you could have access to. So all the West Coast teams could play there generally.
Mm-hmm.
As a basis. You could do, you just said that Florida the infection rates have risen. So unfortunately, I would have suggested maybe one in Florida. But, you could probably do, say, the Colts are in a dome, the Lions are in a dome, Minnesota in a dome. So teams in that area would play in a dome.
Mm-hmm.
New York, and so on. So you could do something like that. And some people say, okay, well, you lose the home ground advantage.
Right.
But if you haven't got crowds yelling out and carrying on, it really doesn't make as much of a difference.
Okay.
Obviously, some teams have got to do more traveling, and obviously the team that plays in that home, that's their home stadium. Yes, they do get a bit of an advantage, but let me put it this, and I don't want to trivialize the whole situation.
Sure.
But it's like you have a hot dog, right? And
Mm-hmm.
somebody says you can have a hot dog without any sauce, and you're hungry. Do you want that? Or you say, no, I'm not going to have it unless I have sauce. That's a bit like without the crowds and so on, or the limited crowds.
Right. And that's what the NFL is kind of talking about right now. Go ahead and promote your book, because I want to get you on another night so we could talk about this book and talk about, why you wrote this book in the first place. Go ahead, give your name out there in case people do want to find this book. What's it called again? NFL Cliches?
It's called NFL Cliches.
Okay.
And you can get it at nflcliches.com.
Okay.
And basically, you just contact me there. There's some examples. So I've written, I'll tell you the whole story when I'm back on again.
Okay.
And we can talk all about it. Because
absolutely.
I think you'd find it a little bit interesting that someone on the other side of the world's written an NFL book.
Yes.
But go to nflcliches.com. You can get a digital form or a paperback. Information's there. You can contact me directly, and I'm happy to talk to anyone. And the first person to contact me from the show, I'll send them one for free.
And it's Gary. What's your last name again?
Jarjura. Gary Jarjura.
Gary Jarjura. Okay. Okay.
Jarjura. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. We will definitely I will definitely contact you off air. We'll try to get you back on the sports web and really give you an opportunity to promote your book. It sounds very interesting, and I think you got a great perspective being over in Sydney, Australia. I've never had anybody call me from overseas. This is very cool. Gary, thanks a lot for calling the Evolution, all right?
Thank you, and thanks for having me on, and keep it going. Great to listen to.
Absolutely. I will definitely do that, and we'll probably try to have you on about Tuesday night. We'll see if we can figure that out. Okay, Gary?
That'd be awesome. Thanks, mate.
All right, buddy.
Never give up, and my thoughts to everybody there.
Absolutely.
Keep on keeping on.
Absolutely. Never give up. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for calling the Sports Web. There you go, guys. I was going to say Arizona. Australia, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with, we'll hold off on the calls here. Let's hold off. Let's go ahead and get Anthony Bamonde on here. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. You were supposed to be on. I tell you what, let's take a call here from Matt Colson, and actually we'll hold off on the call. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
It's been busy tonight. A lot of people to talk to unexpectedly here. And there's been some big stories that we've been kind of talking about and throwing around. NFL Players Association has a call last night, according to Dan Graziano, and they are contemplating having no preseason at all. Do you think there's any effect at all? Do you have a problem with the players not having a preseason?
Not really. I mean, it gives them more time to train. It would just be extra training camp, really. And I think it helps because it keeps the teams away from each other for a little bit longer before a supposed season even starts. We don't even know yet, but I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm fine with it. It gives everyone more time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just gives everyone more time to train, and that's better than just playing some scrimmage, really, exhibition game.
Well, and it also comes down to cutting it down to 2 games, but now it may not be 2 games. There may not be any preseason football at all. Yeah. The other big story of the week was Mr. Big Chest himself, who's been a favorite topic on the sports web. That would be Mr. Antonio Brown joining the Bucs. You're not so happy with that at all. You don't think that's going to happen?
No, listen. If John Gruden couldn't do anything to fix him, Bruce Arians ain't going to do anything to fix him.
Right. So, well, I mean, John, he definitely has his ways. I felt like he really let that organization down in the Raiders. Mm-hmm. And I find it really comical that there's a lot of fans out there that's contemplating it, putting it aside of all the issues, not only on the field, but off the field. I get it. He's so talented as a wide receiver, and he can definitely change games. But not only is it going to cost you some money, but also there's the threat of him really disrupting what that locker room is all about, and that's chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, if the Bucs were to get him, he would become the automatic wide receiver 1, which would make Evans 2, and then Godwin 3, and then you'd move Scotty Miller to 4, and then you don't know what's going to happen with Tyler Johnson. So it's just not worth it.
Right.
It's not worth it. Even if the money's there, it's not worth it. And you have to think that the Bucs are going to still have to sign their draft picks, and they still have to sign Shaq Barrett. So there's really no money there. Yeah, it's not worth the headache. It's just really not. Like, what, he's going to play 1 game like he did with the Patriots, and that's going to be it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's what you kind of worry about. The suspension that most likely is going to come down from the NFL. Is it going to be half a season for all the things that he's done off the field? And we're on with one of our newest writers here on Bucs Report, Mr. Anthony Bamunde, on the evolution of sports talk television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. The other comments of interest were by Randy Moss, saying he had concerns about the Bucs and Brady having success because of the offensive line. In your opinion, is the offensive line the biggest question mark, or do you think the Bucs can do enough to protect Brady, or does Moss have a point?
He has a point because the offense, because you still got Tristan Wirfs, who's still young, and they really, without him last year, they really didn't do a great job of protecting Jameis Winston. So you have to put that into account. So he has a point, yeah, but I don't really think it's going to hinder the offense because Brady is just so quick. He's like almost like a Dan Marino. He's just so fast with the release. Yeah. And he's so quick to check down to a running back. And I don't really see it being an issue, but I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, the other article that I was reading today also says that it looks like, with Cam Newton signing, want to get your thoughts on that, but also Newton signing with the Patriots gives them a better opportunity to compete for a playoff spot. Of course, Vegas has the Patriots and the Bucs coming in at 9.5 wins. How do you see it? Do you think the Patriots have the advantage, or is it the Bucs? Or at this point, is it both of those teams can make the playoffs? Who has more success?
The Bucs. I mean, they have just so much more talent. I mean, Tom Brady had no help last year, and Cam Newton has the exact same situation Tom Brady had. There's no help. Mm-hmm. And plus, you have to wonder about Cam's body because I think he's been hurt almost every season he's been in the NFL.
Right.
And I just don't. I could see the Patriots going to the playoffs and losing in the first round. If anyone thinks they're going to the Super Bowl, they're more delusional than a Cowboys fan. So I don't see it happening.
All right, I'll tell you what, we have an open phone line, so call up Matt Colson or anybody else. We just got a phone call from Sydney, Australia with a author of an NFL book, so we'll get him on Tuesday night here. Of course, we're part of the Landry Football Network here on the Sports Web. Ask and you shall receive. Mr. Matt Colson, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. You're on with yours truly, along with Anthony Bamunde, one of our newest writers here on Bucs Report. You got a question for this young man?
Oh, no, I just want to jump in the conversation, but I wanted to mention the guy from Australia.
Yes.
The cardboard cutouts were well behaved, mostly. That's the funniest thing I've heard all night. You don't get that kind of humor on ESPN, and I just thought that made me laugh.
Well, good. I'm glad that we can make you laugh here and at least entertain you and educate you at the same time. So what else is on your mind?
Well, I was going to ask you about this the other night.
Sure.
The Randy Moss comments, unfortunately, he's right. And I've had this reservation myself. I agree with Anthony. Brady is a 1, 2, 3, and it's out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who's open. Whoever's open is open at 3, and that's it.
Right.
You don't go any further. But I don't even know if he's going to get to 3 all the time. I don't really care for Donovan Smith at all. And I'm hoping that this rookie's going to do well. So that today, when they're talking about no preseason, I don't know how that's going to help a rookie out. I mean, the guy's going to show up 8 weeks into the season. He'll finally figure things out. That first 8 weeks could be the end of Tom Brady. He's an old guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm an old guy, so I'm not trying to harp on him, but he's only about 8 years younger than I am. And I don't remember being able to play football when I was 40-something. It just doesn't.
Well, it's a little bit of a difference there, Matt. It's Tom Brady. I get what you're saying, though. There's definitely there's some cause for concern, right? But he's keeping himself in great shape. I mean, that's the reason why he's one of the greatest. It's not only his mind, but also his physical attributes.
Physically, he's committed to being
correct,
as longevity as possible.
Correct,
and that's cool. But I agree with Randy Moss a little bit in that if you couldn't keep Winston upright without him running for his life, Brady can't run as far as Winston, and Winston wasn't that good.
Right.
He was elusive, but he wasn't going to run out there and score a touchdown 35 yards out. It isn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to have a reservation about. But I still think if the games start, Brady will figure it out. And if he can stand up straight, his biggest issue, we've always known, the way you beat Brady is to get around his ankle. You don't have to hit him.
Right.
You just got to close the pocket up.
Sure.
And make him nervous. And I see that happening quite often. I think that's what Randy Moss was getting at.
Well, and Randy Moss has somewhat of a point, but also you go back to what Chris Landry said on Wednesday. He said the last couple of weeks here that Winston held the ball a lot, and that could be a reason also why the offensive line wasn't good, although, maybe wide receivers weren't getting open. But here's a man that's broken down film, and he's telling you that Winston's holding the ball too long. So I kind of feel like the offensive line maybe not as bad as we think it is.
How much of that is on Byron Leftwich? A bunch, isn't it?
I mean, I think you could definitely put some of it on play calling in his first year. I mean, there was definitely some questionable calls on 3rd and 4th down. I get that. Maybe too much pass heavy, not enough run, but that comes with confidence of the coaching staff. Coaching staff didn't necessarily have that much confidence in their running back situation. It certainly seems like that's kind of changed with having Ronald Jones back and also Keyshawn Vaughn in the 3rd round. So I definitely think they're going to have some balance to this offense to take the pressure off of Brady. But you're exactly right. I mean, it definitely comes down to play calling, and you kind of wonder that if this offense does struggle, and there's no I can't look into my crystal ball and say that's going to happen, but if it does happen, you kind of wonder if Bruce Arians would start taking over play calling duties possibly from Byron Leftwich if he struggles.
I think the more likely situation is that Brady's going to say, I know better than Byron on this situation. I've been around the block enough.
Right.
He'll just call an audible in the huddle, and it'll be whatever the hell he wants to do.
Right.
And it'll get to a point, because that's the kind of guy Brady is. He gets pissed off at a wide receiver. That guy can never catch a ball because he won't throw it to him.
Mm-hmm.
So if he gets hacked off at Byron Leftwich, the headphones are off. It's going to be, I'm going to call them all and win or die. And I would lean towards being more successful than Jameis would have been in that situation.
Right.
But I don't think Brady's going to be locked into whatever is called every single time. And I don't think anybody's going to say anything to him if he decides to just pull his own play out of the hat and make it work.
Yeah.
If it's successful. But those are the things I wish the games would start. I wish to get into the season. It's to the point now where I told you last year, we're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice,
right? About practice right now. We're talking about maybe practice.
So you like to talk about practice then, rather than what we're talking about with COVID-19
right
and everything
now,
else. Yes.
I mean, I'm watching WWE replays on Facebook and getting excited. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, my friend. We'll try to keep you entertained and also, like I said, educated here on the Sports Web. Try to take your mind off of it. But of course, COVID-19 has definitely come to the forefront in all sports right now. Anything else, Matt?
No, I'm running out of ideas, but I just wanted to say nothing. And when is this is off your beat? But when is Alex Fleming's show? Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Turf Talk. Yes, sir. You have to get up early for it.
No, that's not getting up early. Come on now.
Well, for me it is. I sleep in. I got to get up early. I mean, I get up every day about 7, 8 o'clock. So I definitely sleep in, but definitely a must watch from Alex Fleming of Fantasy and Flavors. It's called Turf Talk here live on Bucs Report.
I'm going to try to catch it just because I told him I would. So.
Yes, he definitely does a great job, and he's had over 2,000 views for each show. I mean, he's impressive. We've done shows before, so I'm not really surprised by that. That's the kind of people we have here at Bucs Report and our family. And we've got Anthony Bamonde. You have a question for him at all? No questions for him?
Well, you asked him all the questions.
Okay.
I mean, what am I supposed to bring up? I think that he answered everything pretty effectively.
Yes, he has.
I'm going to let you guys use your own cheat sheets because, like the guy said the other night, I don't have my journal out. I don't have anything.
All right. So, well, get your journal out there, buddy. Start jotting down some ideas, and don't be a stranger here on the Sports Web. All right?
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Good stuff. Open phone line 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Anthony Bamonde. We've got Mr. Rick Brown himself, more buzz with the Charlotte Hornets coming in. We'll try to get him on also, but we're going to go out to the web heads here, read some comments, and then we will try to get Mr. Rick Brown on if he's still in the lobby. I don't see him there, but I think he'll come back. Yo, Leo says, Gabe, no session this year at this rate. All right, Mr. Pregnant Paws himself, Mr. Gabe out of Oklahoma, welcome to the Evolution. I call you Dramatic Paws. What's up?
Pregnant Paws.
Pregnant Paws, Dramatic Paws, Dramatic Paws. What's up?
All right, first off, guys, happy early 4th of July. Be sure not to blow your hand off with a firecracker.
Easy. Yes. Of course. Okay, that's fair. That's definitely fair.
I think all the woes that the O-line have got throughout the season, mainly because of Jameis Winston. He holds on to the ball for like 4 to 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And as Anthony put it ever so great, Tom Brady is basically Dan Marino 2.0.
I like that.
Get it out in about 2 to 3 seconds, dump it off. Maybe if Mike Evans gets deep enough, he could take a shot. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's going to be the question mark, I think, is the offensive line. Can they hold up enough? Because you got those opportunities where you can take those shots down the field with the Chris Godwin and, of course, Mike Evans.
And call me crazy, but I think O.J. Howard would actually work as a very good slot receiver since we have like 8 tight ends.
We've kind of touched upon that with Chris Landry with the 12 personnel, and he even put it out there that he could see Gronk going into that slot and being a third wide receiver on some of those plays. So if they're willing to do that with Rob Gronkowski, I definitely think they could do it with O.J. Howard. I really do.
All right. So, question for you, Anthony.
Yes.
How old are you?
25.
Oh, you look to be around like 19 or something.
Well, I thought he was 18 at the time, and somebody I thought told me he was. But the guy works hard. I don't care how young he is. He definitely works here for Bucs Report, does a hell of a job with all his great articles that he works on for us. So, yeah, it's possible.
I just shaved today, so it might be the baby smooth skin. I don't know.
That's what happens. I shave. I look young too, but definitely, what else, Gabe?
That's basically it. I have some more controversial I want to talk about, but that'll be on later tonight.
Okay.
I'm able to get a call in.
All right, Gabe, thanks a lot for the call. Thanks a lot for calling the evolution of sports talk television, all right?
I already got 2 things off my journal.
Oh, there you go. Got to get your journal updated, so there you go. All right, good stuff. All right, we will get Mr. Rick Brown on. I see him in the lobby there, but let's go out to the webheads really quick. I want to read these comments, and then we'll get back to it. No session this year at this rate. Joshua Cole Allen, yo, what's up, YouTube? Top Kemp, throw PA in the mix at the moment. I don't know what that's all about. What's up? Christopher says, hey, guys, wear a mask and wash your hands. Thank you for all tuning in. Just chilling, getting ready for the show tonight and the 4th tomorrow. Let's see, spinning out our receiver's face if they did. Ha Jin, what's up? What's going on? Hagen, how you doing? Welcome to the Evolution. Definitely, we are proud to announce that Bucs Report is now part of the LandryFootball.com Twitch and podcast network. Official. There you go. Same, just getting ready for the weekend, says Best Virtual Edits Video. Tracy, hey, Johnny Dean, what's up, Mr. Leo Haggerty, who was in here before. Hi, Tracy. Everybody saying hi to each other. Sure thing. Tough times for everyone right now. Hello, Tracy. Hello, BCEV. Christopher Cole, 0-26 Bucs on the screen. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't notice that at all. Where is Tampa? Thoughts what it was. I thought that's what it was. I think he's saying maybe with the pandemic we can back the custom face mask. Absolutely. Blake Peter, thoughts on the Bucs running game. Blake, really like, and I believe this is Blake Ruffino, who is a part of the Landry Football Network. You do a great show. I heard about Louisiana Go Tigers, LSU Tigers. So looking forward to having you on here, talking maybe some college football and, of course, some NFL football. The running game at this point, I think, is a lot better than people think. You improve the offensive line. You got Ronald Jones coming in for his second year of the system. He's got to improve on some things. They drafted Keyshawn Vaughn. So I feel like if this organization feels confident in what this running back stable could provide, I definitely feel like it could be a strong point just because of Tom Brady and this offense. How do you feel about it, Anthony?
I pretty much agree with you. I mean, I think that Ronald Jones is going to be better this year because, I mean, look at the workouts he's doing this offseason. I mean, he's beast this offseason. I mean, and it looks like he's getting better at his receiving too, so that could help. But I think it's going to be a fun little competition between him and Keyshawn Vaughn. Definitely.
Yeah, and I definitely think Vaughn can offer some things that maybe Jones is not great at. Jones has to improve on his catching ability and, of course, his pass protection. But everything you've heard, Tom Brady has been impressed with Ronald Jones. Let's see here, Johnny Dean coming soon. Some exciting new shows exclusive to BR's YouTube channel. You've got one of those shows. Go ahead and promote one of those shows that you're going to be doing here on YouTube.
So it's going to be called The A Gap.
Okay.
And I just ordered my microphone yesterday, so it's coming next week.
Nice.
And it's going to be every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to do 10, 15-minute videos, and I'm pretty much going to recap something from your show, talk about one piece of NFL news, and then one piece of Bucs news, and that's going to be the show.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Looking forward to that. That's going to be on the YouTube channel on Bucs Report. So there you go. Go and check that out. Chase says, let's see, go Bucs. Hope everyone has a safe and happy 4th. And let's just pray there is a season. Dwayne Beatty, Uncle D, Peter H. Blake, a good show with Mr. Leo Haggerty. Everything could be completely different by the time the game starts, says Christopher Cole. Absolutely. Let's see, Chase here. Yes, I would definitely sign the waiver. Susan says, with Brady here, enough people will sign and go to games. All right, good stuff. Joshua Cole Allen, look out for the new show 8-9 on July 15th, and that would be the Audible here on Bucs Report. So definitely check that out. 8 to 9 says Joshua Cole Allen. We'll get him on here. He can promote that. I really don't see football happening this year with the college kids at Penn State dying from COVID. I doubt very seriously any college program can have a safe season. How do you feel about college football? Do you feel like college football is going to be non-existent this year?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're really not doing anything for protocol and precautions. Not that I've seen, but I don't think so.
All right, at Tampa Prep, a week after Peter says he loves Hungry Howie's, they file bankruptcy. Laugh out loud. Thanks a lot, because he's the only few who goes there. Fellas says Ray Kennedy. I wish I like comments and here. Oh, there's Tampa Bay Ray. Absolutely, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy and the house. Ben Cornett, not a bad impersonation of Leo by Ozzy, but I think Will Mann has the best Leo Haggerty impersonation. Ray Kennedy saying hello. Peter has music lesson sign. I know he needs to take that down. No, that would be Sam Ash right there with Sam Ash music. So there's no music lessons. I'm not giving anybody music lessons. This caller is taking 20 hours later. I think that was the guy from Australia. We'll get him back on here eventually. Laugh out loud. It's Ozzy, the sports junkie. He was supposed to be on, but Wi-Fi issues. Absolutely, Ozzy is the man. Let's see. That's Ozzy, bro. Absolutely. YouTube is the jump for real. 9-10 o'clock is early, Peter. Take an Uber. It will cost you less than parking. Ha ha. I know who's not opting out. Tom Brady. Isaiah says, me, I love the beach. I guess men do men things. Pittsburgh just posted the most COVID cases it has since the start of it. 600 new cases this week. It counted as 1/4 of the cases in the state. Tampa Prep, I need a history lesson on 4th of July. Let's hold off on the calls right now. Let me read these comments. We'll get Rick Brown on, then we'll take your call. Ozzy must be from the north. Johnny Dean coming soon. Some exciting. Okay, we already read that. Peter, where are my wings at? Not coming. I'm not a big runner, Peter. I'm like a brisk jog. Ozzy is a legend. Ray Kennedy, happy Independence Day. I'll be on the Bucs Report live tomorrow to cover the alien invasion. I'm sorry, we all know LeBron is better than Jordan. Just give up my wings for the place around the Ray J. I'll pick it up. Let's see. Hell yes, Johnny Dean. Okay, I'm on Facebook. Great. Everybody's saying where they're at. Let's go ahead and get some comments here. I know a good cliche, 15-1 is a cursed record. I have it. Bucs Report is going global. Laugh out loud. Somebody saying MJ over LeBron. Those jerseys.
Did I just say LeBron over MJ?
Yeah, it's MJ over LeBron. Everybody knows.
Thank you.
Peter loves this debate. I do. I always love when people bring it up. Welcome, sir. NFL cliches from down under. Dylan has seen it. Tampa Prep. RIP to the lady that passed away who worked with the Bucs. They say she came up with the idea of those jerseys. Shrimp on the Barbie for the 4th. Gay Culverhouse. Yep, absolutely. Rest in peace to her. I'm just kidding. It's so early for Matt Gay. Disable the phone lines. Easy. I got this. I know what I'm doing here. Don't tell me what to do. Disable the phone lines. Who are you, Best Virtual Edits Video? Are you my producer? No, you're not. I handle this. You watch me. Sit back and enjoy it here.
That's the guy who said LeBron over Jordan. I don't trust him.
I don't trust him either. Anyone thinks it's funny as Aussie comes on right after Ozzy? I don't think it's Ozzy, but that would have been good. It would have been a good joke. Cranky, don't do that. Hey, did anybody just see where the NFL Players Association just voted against preseason games? Is this true? No preseason at all. We've been talking about that. Gabe says yes. Cardboard cutouts was generally well behaved, well played. You mean Creaky? Don't you, Joshua? Absolutely, whatever. I don't speak Spanish. I laugh my ass off. LeBron is only playing in the NBA history to lead both teams and points, rebounds, and assists in playoff series. He did that twice. 2015 led the Cavs, Warriors, and points, rebounds, assists. 2016 led the Cavs and the Warriors again. Okay. Larry Fitzgerald more tackles than drops in his NFL career. Tom Brady has thrown 10% of all Super Bowl touchdown passes. You know you're not lying. Matt Colson says the NFL Players Association did vote to have no preseason games, but I don't think the owners are on board with that. Tampa Prep in 4 seasons wins has 0 playoff wins, 48 fumbles. His record is 7-20 record versus teams over 500. He has no heart, no desire to win. His teammates hate him. He has started 5-6 in 3 of his first 4 seasons. Most NFL teams should change their names, not for justice, but for fun. Tampa Bay Buccaneers could rebrand themselves as the Florida Men. Let's not do that. Now, that sounds so dumb, bro. Stop it. Quit it. Ray Kennedy, Florida Men. Yeah, exactly. Best virtual edits video told you to disable them. For Anthony, looking forward to hearing what he has to say tonight. Megan, thanks a lot for tuning into the evolution of Sports Talk Television. The girlfriend of Anthony Bamonde here, one of the newest writers on Bucs Report. You got a good one, my friend. You got a girl that tunes in to what you're doing. Definitely keep her around. Just saying. Make sure you treat her right. Cowboys could become the Texas Oil Necks. Great. Kicking it with a Misfit shirt. Absolutely. Ray Kennedy, can someone go check on Anthony? He's just a kid. Update odds to win Super Bowl 55. Chiefs plus 650. Ravens plus 700. 49ers plus 900. Saints plus 1,200. Buccaneers plus 1,000. And Cowboys plus 1,800. Rick Hughes, laugh out loud. Yeah, look at what he's doing during the one game with the Patriots. Bandwagon Bucs fans heading back to the Patriots after they signed Cam Newton. I know a few. Tampa Prep. If the Bucs get a stable, humble, and ready to work, AB, it is over. Mike, Godwin, AB, Gronk, Howard, Brait will be the best collective of offensive passing core this game has seen in a generation. Ray Kennedy, that's our boy. Johnny Dean, NFL posted the Bucs have the top spot in best 5 skill positions. Ray Kennedy, I'm sure everybody in the room knows how much a great writer Anthony is. Absolutely. He is a grinder. That would be Joshua Cole Allen. But also you could say that about Anthony Bamonde. The Bucs should trade for Josh Rosen. Kid wasn't picked in the top 10 for nothing, was on 2 horrible teams. Pair him with Tampa Bay's coaching staff and offensive weapons. You may have a steal on your hands. Bamonde, absolutely. The Pats are paying Cam Newton less than the Bucs are paying Blaine Gabbert to back up Tom Brady. A quarterback the Pats think is washed up. I don't think he's washed up. Wow, Tampa Prep has a lot of stats tonight. Through the first 5 games of 2019, the Bucs secondary allowed 6 quarterbacks to throw for over 300 in the last 7 games, not one 300-yard passer. That's why you should be excited. I'm hearing Antonio Brown to the Bucs is a done deal if they can meet his helmet demands. I'd like to see a clean Josh Gordon per sources. Wow, Tampa Prep is saying that. So there you go. So many comments tonight. Peter is going to be here until 1 a.m. Laugh out loud. Tampa Prep, Josh Gordon will not be clean if he is off the wheezing, but in the NFL new standard, he is just going to grind. That's our job, to keep Peter talking. Absolutely. Tampa Prep. The Bucs played Adam Humphries over Chris Godwin in 2018. Damn it, Matt, you just went extreme. If COVID robs me of the Bucs team of Brady, I will be taking a bath with multiple toasters. Gee, wow. Please don't do that. Well, I can cover 3 platforms at once after all. There's still a fumble tuck rule game that is in the background there. Johnny Dean, I'm wondering if I'm confusing Peter with too many comments. Where's Johnny now? Ray Kennedy, Matt makes a good point, but man, when Brady throws the play action in the secondary, playing to jump the short pass, there are going to be some wide open seams and weapons hitting everyone. Johnny Dean, Anthony Bamonde loves the I love the OG flag. Freezinator, bitter freeze face by Peter. Very nice. Let's see here. And Anthony just drinking his water. Johnny, you notice how much better the audio is over here on YouTube. Yes, sir. Ray, it's better. I thought it was just me. Ray Kennedy, no clear, clean channel. Nice. Most passing touchdowns from a clean pocket in 2019. Jameis Winston, Lamar Jackson, Jimmy Garoppolo, elbow cough. Oops. Bucs Report. Anthony Bamonde has a new YouTube show coming up. Once again, promote it, and then we'll get Rick Brown on. I'm trying to read all these comments, so go ahead.
It's called The A Gap, and it's going to be every Tuesday and Thursday, probably around 8 p.m. I'm going to have them up on the YouTube channel, and it's going to be 10, 15 minutes long, and I'm going to talk about 3 topics, one from Peter's show, one from NFL news, and one about Buccaneers news.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. Tampa Prep. The Bucs have the tuck rule to think for the Super Bowl. If the Raiders win that game, Gruden doesn't become the Bucs head coach, and Brady maybe isn't Brady now. Brady comes to Tampa. Therefore, the best Super Bowl matchup right there. Carl Ward, 13-3 Bucs. They win the NFC South. Thank you. Frederick says somebody just killed the corona already. Let's play some ball, says Frederick. Absolutely. The A Gap exclusive to the Bucs Report YouTube channel. Go Bucs, Tampa Prep. He's skipping my comments. How lame. I'm not skipping your comments. I'm trying to read all the comments and get our guest on the A-Gap exclusive, the Bucs Report YouTube channel. We definitely have 2 Ricks on tonight. Rick Brown will be coming on in a moment. There goes Facebook Dean, YouTube Dean, Rick Brown, Christopher Cole. If there is no college football, what about the seniors and the draft and their prospects? Something we could talk about, I guess. Mr. Rick Brown, Michael, Jeffrey, Jordan, all the laughing faces. He's got you. Dylan, you have to send wings if you're. You have to send wings if he. I don't know what he's saying there. So we'll shake my head, Peter. You're so wrong. Best virtual edits video sounds like a clickbaity scam service. See, Anthony does have a girlfriend. Gabe, man, I'm listening to YouTube comment BS. And Megan, you tell him, Peter. I will. Even though I'm a single guy, look, when it comes down to it, if you have a woman that supports you, hold on to them. There you go, Anthony. So let's go ahead, keep you on here for a little bit longer. Open phone lines. I don't see any more Rick, so definitely get back in here. I'm sorry, but just trying to run late tonight. Everything is just crazy, but the phone line is open, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I did not skip your comments. I tried to read all the comments that I could read. So there you go. So
that guy was just throwing stats out like it was his life.
Well, I mean, look, they're definitely relevant stats, but at the end of the day, we know the reason why Winston isn't here anymore, and people continue to overlook it, but it's the turnover situation. And I learned something 2 weeks ago from Chris Landry, and of course, we're part of the Landry Football Network. He said coaches just don't like turnovers, and it puts that defense into those bad situations. So for me, Brady is not a guy that turns over the ball a lot. You feel like the defense improved the second half of the year. If you cut down on those turnovers, you don't put your defense into those situations, and then basically you're better off, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the defense, if you keep turning the ball over like Jameis did, the defense is going to wear down and wear down. I mean, he had games where he had 2-3 interceptions. I mean, that does a lot to a defense.
Okay, well, it must be in the air tonight. I guess it's freezing for some reason. Everybody's internet is crazy, so we'll just go out to the phone line. Curtis from Newport Richie, one of my favorite callers. You're on the evolution of Sports Talk Television on this Friday night. What's on your mind, boss?
What's going on, fellas?
No, you tell me.
I got a couple questions.
Okay.
First one is how difficult do you think it's going to be for scouts next year? For the kids coming out of their draft next year?
Well, I think it could be very difficult. Not only this year, I think it's difficult for the undrafted free agents that we've talked to on this show, unfortunately, because you're losing those 400 reps. I also think it's difficult for the rookies this year. And not only that, you're exactly right. You bring up a outstanding point that nobody kind of looked at. With everything being at a standstill, it's definitely going to be harder on the scouts. But I will say this, with all the time that they have and all the tech in front of them, you would think that maybe they would have some type of an advantage to see some of these prospects in their film. Of course, we may not have a college football season, so it's going to be that much harder. But with all the tech in front of them and all the time that they would have, they may have some type of advantage. Just saying.
Yeah, and I just believe, like, because I know a lot of the scouts, they do 2 years on a lot of these kids, and it's just crazy that you're going to have to go back like 3 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely crazy. I'm not sure if we're going to have a college football season. I could see more of an NFL season than a college football season. And I'll tell you why, Curtis, because they're kids. They're not getting paid for it. They're not professionals. Not only could you have the coaches infected, but students infected. And, just look at the Michigan Big House with 100,000 people. I just could not. I can't see it happening. I'm sorry. Just can't see it.
My other comment, the guy that said LeBron over MJ is on drugs.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
I will take me personally, I will take Kobe over LeBron.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Me personally,
I agree with that at 100%.
Kobe has that killer instinct like Jordan, and LeBron doesn't have it.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like he has it either. And just watching the decision over again, they had a special on ESPN. I'm trying to think of what it was called. I didn't change my mind on it. And in fact, it made me even more angry because him and his people controlled the narrative of that. And I know that they got ratings for that, but it was just, I don't know. It was just a bad broadcast. I get it. It produced money for the boys and girls club, but I just hated the whole narrative being controlled. And I just didn't like the whole scenario of him being the chosen one. If you're the chosen one, you don't leave the team. You try to either recruit or you try to play through it. That's why I have respect for Jordan. And people say, well, Jordan didn't do it by himself. No, he didn't do it by himself, but he didn't call free agents. No. They didn't get together. They didn't join up on super teams, which LeBron has done this multiple times now, and he's really changed the state and the face of the NBA with other players joining up. He's opened the floodgates for that to happen. Jordan wasn't the guy who did that. He got his team better. He improved his game. He made everybody around him better, and he let his organization, Jerry Krause, who I think receives a lot of criticism, and he should, but also should receive some of the praise for the Chicago Bulls and those 6 championships. So
absolutely. All right, now one more thing I have for you guys. I know we got a Bucs report, but here I got something to say about this guy Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
And what I want people to look at is Baker Mayfield is actually, if he has another season like he did next year, if he has another season this year like he did last year, he's going to be on the Jameis Winston hot seat because the talent he has around him, there's no excuse for the way he plays the game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Him and the turnovers that he has had with dude, he had a 1,400-yard rusher and 2,000-yard receivers.
Yes. Yes, and I definitely agree with you on that. You put the weapons around him, you have a new coach. The thing that you run into with Mayfield is having multiple offensive coordinators. You hope that doesn't stunt his growth. We've kind of talked about that before with other quarterbacks. That's where you can go wrong. So it's a big year for Baker Mayfield. And look, OJ has come out and said, I'm going to have a better year. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to be focused. And I think, look, the sky is the limit for him, and he's still a kid. If he can put it together, then definitely that Browns offense can be explosive.
And the thing that bothered me is a lot of people look at Jameis Winston and they're like, oh, he was such a bust. And I'm like, he really wasn't a bust. He had a lot of complications in Tampa. And I'm looking at Baker Mayfield, and he's pretty much going through the same exact thing that Jameis Winston did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at his stats right now. His rookie year, he had 14 interceptions. Last season, he had 21. I mean, that's a lot.
That's so identical to Jameis Winston. It's crazy how identical it is.
Well, I mean, and he makes questionable decisions on and off the field. That would be Mayfield. And, of course, we've talked about the Winston situation. So he's got to improve on that, and he's got a big year in front of him, and he's got all the weapons. He's just got to put it together, and you feel like, my dad used to say this, when do the lights turn on, son? When do the lights turn on for him? If those lights don't turn on, then you could see another team here.
Correct. And my final day for you guys is Daniel Snyder. He just needs to let it go.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's so ridiculous at this point. I mean, look, FedEx is telling you to change the game. It's offending people. We're in a social climate right now where it's offending people. You can make so much money changing the name of the franchise.
And I mean, it's crazy because, I look at like the Cleveland Indians. That's not bad. You know, you got the Chicago Blackhawks. You got other teams, the Chiefs. Those aren't as bad, but the Redskins, that is just...
It's a slang term. It's racially charged. It's not a good thing. It's not a good look. It's not a good optic, and there's no reason why we should be fighting it. It's not going to affect anybody. If you get up tomorrow and you're a Washington Redskin fan and they change the name to the Washington Warriors and have the same colors, is your life going to end? No, it's ridiculous.
No, it's not.
Put things in perspective.
I actually like the Washington Warriors.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. Washington Warriors or whatever. Make something out of it. Daniel Snyder is a guy that likes to make money. He doesn't always do the right thing, and he hasn't done the right thing in this case, but you have an opportunity to change the name, make more money at it, and really get in front of this whole situation where you've offended people throughout the years. Do something differently, and let's call it a day. And everybody just getting so upset. Well, everything's changing. Everything changes all the time.
All the time.
This is the
All the
evolution
time.
of sports talk television, and there will be people that will tune into this broadcast and be upset. Why? Because I'm not looking at the camera, because I'm taking comments and taking phone calls. That's old school. This is new
Yep.
school. Embrace
Yeah, well,
it.
And you know, the crazy thing about it is you know, people look at the NFL owners. Look, these guys are going to do what they want to do.
Right.
And you know, Jerry Jones does and says what he wants to all the time. All the time.
Right.
And Snyder is no better.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think it's going to drag on into the season, and it's going to become a problem.
It shouldn't be a problem. There should be no problem at all.
No, you're absolutely right. There shouldn't be a problem. But I mean, we've been going through this with Dan Snyder for how long?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It really is.
I mean, again, if it offends people and it's not, there's not even a Washington Redskin tribe out there. I get it. It's been the name forever. So what? If people are offended by it, if you have a sponsor that's going to pull out money from you and they're going to take away that, then I think you have to. And that's where the NFL owners, whether they're right or wrong, they're always thinking about the bottom line. The whole social consciousness by these owners and by the Roger Goodell is all about NFL players saying, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to play this year. And the NFL owners and Roger Goodell, it's seeing the social climate right now, they're doing the right thing. They could care less about kneeling because they wouldn't let Kaepernick in the league. But now they care about it because it could be affecting the players, and that affects the bottom line. And that's where the owners are thinking. So good stuff, Curtis. Thanks a lot for calling.
He's not going to be satisfied until they push him out like they did Donald Sterling and Jerry Richardson.
Right.
He's not.
Right.
He's not going to be satisfied until that happens.
Well, I mean, it'll definitely be interesting. It's already been an interesting offseason with COVID and everything else. And I feel like there's going to be more issues, but they could just get in front of the issue, and that would be Daniel Snyder by just changing the name to the Washington Warriors. Anything else,
Absolutely.
Curtis?
Nope, that's it, brother.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for calling the evolution of sports talk television, all right?
Yep, all right.
Don't be afraid of change. Everybody's always afraid of change. Don't be afraid of it. It may actually be good, and expecting or thinking about change right now. Let's go out to the man himself, Mr. Buzz. More buzz in the Charlotte Hornets. Mr. Rick Brown, welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. And I got to ask you, big deal. There you go. I've got to ask you about what are your thoughts on Daniel Snyder and FedEx basically saying to him, look, we're going to take away your sponsorship money. We're not going to be your sponsor anymore. You need to change the name. What do you think?
It's time.
Okay.
It's time. I mean, I wrote a column about this many years ago, at least more than 10 years ago, wrote a letter directly to Daniel Snyder asking him to consider change. You know, the question was back in the day, well, how many people will it take? I mean, how many people are upset over this? But why do we have to have a number when it comes to what's right and wrong? I mean, if one person says it's wrong, then do we ignore it? If 1,000 people say it's wrong, then is it right? No, it's time. And in 2013, Daniel Snyder said he would never do it, never. And now he comes out with some BS statement today talking about, oh, we're going to do a thorough review. Well, it's BS, and I'll tell you why. Because the writing is on the wall, and he's already been told that he cannot have a stadium in D.C. With the name the same way. You guys have already mentioned about FedEx asking them to change. Nike has pulled their online apparel of the franchise. The money is starting to talk to Daniel Snyder. It's time to change. It's time. And believe me, I mean, I grew up with the squad and I know the history. I know George Preston Marshall brought the team over and from Boston and didn't want them to be confused with the Braves. So they named them what they named them. But this was also the franchise that was the last in the NFL to integrate. So I tell you what, guys, this is what I want. This is what I would like. Why not change it to the Washington Red Tails? Red Tails being the Tuskegee Airmen, the black airmen who did those amazing flies and didn't have anyone killed in the war. Now that will be something. The last team to integrate to now honoring some black airmen who did well in the war. That's my suggestion, but no one listens to me anyway, so hey, whatever.
Well, that's not true because we're listening to you here right now on the evolution of sports talk television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Buzz himself. More Buzz than the Charlotte Hornets, Mr. Rick Brown, talking about the Washington Red Tails, hopefully. And then, of course, Anthony Bamunde. We'll got Rick Hughes on here in the lobby. We'll get him on in just a little bit, so stand by. For me, I definitely think that's a great idea. With all that being said, the other story has been not only cutting down, and let's hold off on the calls here. Johnny Dean, we'll get back to you in a moment. Not only having the 2 preseason games, but now you hear the story from the NFL Players Association. They had a phone call on Thursday night, and according to Dan Graziano, they're definitely considering putting out a proposal to the NFL where they have no preseason. Do you like this proposal, and how do you think this affects teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Well, I think it affects any team that is coming in dependent on rookies as well as new players to perform. Now, most of the vets hated preseason games because it is just glorified. We call it a glorified practice, but these were the reps to get the bottom of your lineup, to get the special teamers, the fourth and fifth and sixth receivers, the depth of your team. That's what the preseason games were for, as well as getting some reps for your starters, but not many. I mean, the first game of a regular 4 preseason game year, first game the starters may get 1 series. The second game, maybe they may go a quarter. The third game was the only game that they played a half. Sometimes they pushed it into the third, but that was it. They didn't play the fourth game. So for veteran teams, it won't hurt as much. I think for teams that are dependent on newcomers, I think that could cause some problems, as well as getting the depth of your team.
All right, and the open phone line, 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Buzz himself. More Buzz than the Charlotte Hornets, Mr. Rick Brown, one of the great writers here at Bucs Report, and, of course, Anthony Bamunde, one of our newest. Let's go out to the phone lines. Johnny Dean, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. What's on your mind?
Well, you got Rick Brown on there, and I'm a Native American born on a reservation, so I wanted to get in here. I don't know if Rick was in Washington during the 79 protest with the Native Americans there, but that's a long-standing feud between the Native Americans and Washington. I know that they've had their feud with Washington. The Red Tails is a great name, but I wanted to ask Rick, would you really want your team associated with somebody who has been forced to change their name, not out of their own generosity, but because they're being forced to? Because I know for a fact the Native Americans do not want anything to do with that team whatsoever. They will argue with them about any kind of Native relationship with that team's name.
For me, Johnny, I've always, for the last going on the 3rd or 4th year, this owner has really disappointed me. And not because of the product that he put on the field, but his social comments and his social beliefs have really turned me off. So I hate saying this, but I've denounced my fandomship of this team until the owner is gone. Now, even if they change the name of the team, I'm still staying away because the owner is still the same. And you're right. He's being forced to do something. It's not out of what he thinks is right. So I understand your point there. although other people may not agree with me on that, or agree with us on that, because if someone makes you do something, eventually you may come around, and you may understand the errors of your ways, but usually there's some resentment there. So, but it's going to be hard to get rid of him because he's one of 32, and he doesn't want to give up that power, that money that cash cow that they have. I think they're the 14th. I think they're the 14th most profitable franchise in the world. Please check me on that, but I thought I read that today. So
that number will probably be going down soon.
It could be if it continues the way it is. If this is the time, this climate right now that we are in, folks, this is history in the making. We haven't seen this in a lot of people's lifetimes. I mean, I'm barely on the cusp. I was born in '68, so I'm on the cusp of change in this world. So we're in a very interesting time period right now where socially, and it's not just here in the States, it's all over, demanding things. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time for me. And hopefully, the skins will change totally. And this COVID will brush off, and we can get back to everything that we love about sports and life.
It would be a perfect world if Doug Williams could take over that team and then name it the Red Tails, because the Red Tails is a very great name. I've studied them. Those guys were amazing, and that would be appropriate, but under Snyder, I just don't see it. They should go with Federalists or the Senators or something like that and just stay away from.
They'll probably go with Capitals and try to steal the Washington Capitals, or Nationals and try to steal them. I'm sorry, I'm not getting on that team. I'm not going to talk about that team anymore. I just heard Curtis. Hey, look, Pete. I heard Curtis coming in and just blasting the team and all, and so that's why I came in and just like, hey, I still got some stuff. I still got some stuff here. I can mess with you guys, but no.
Good stuff. All right, Johnny Dean. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, buddy. There you go. So open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with one of our newest writers here, Mr. Anthony Bamunde, and, of course, Mr. Buzz himself, more Buzz than the Charlotte Hornets, Mr. Rick Brown. So no preseason games, possibly 2 preseason games, and now we have the greatness of Antonio Brown. I'll get back to it in a moment. Let's go out to the phone lines here. Matt Colson, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. What's on your mind?
Call number 2.
All right, go for it, buddy.
This is something I avoided talking to you about because you don't like to mix politics with sports, but you brought it up, so now I get to go.
All right.
I live in Oklahoma. You know that.
Yes, sir.
2 blocks down the road is the local McLeod High School stadium, and it's called the Redskins.
Okay.
Surrounded by 25,000 tribes.
Okay.
There are tribes every direction, and in the local paper and in the local radio, they'll tell you they're not offended by that. So, I mean, the tribes that got here to Oklahoma used to run from the Mississippi all the way to Washington State and down to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
That was their land. And we squashed and killed and manipulated those people to the point where they all fit right here in Oklahoma, in the Oklahoma Indian Territory.
Right.
That's the history of it. So if anybody's got a reason to be pissed off, I would imagine all of those tribes would, but they're not. So, I don't understand it. I think coming from my age group,
mm-hmm.
I'm 56 on Tuesday.
Happy birthday, buddy.
I cannot understand what's happening around me right now. I'm sure I feel a lot like my dad did when the 60s and early 70s happened and the hippie movement came on and they started putting daisies in the barrels of the National Guardmen standing around the different colleges.
Right.
And they were doing their upheaval and all of that stuff.
I guess, Matt, here's what I'm going to ask you. Does it really affect you in any way? I mean, is it going to change your life in any way?
What bothers me about it? No, it doesn't mean a damn thing to me.
It's not going to pay your bills. It's not going to take away from your. Okay. Right.
You could call them the pink shirts. It doesn't really matter.
But if it offends some people,
the idea of what Rick said about the red tails.
Okay.
And Johnny Dean was correct. That Tuskegee Airmen story is incredible. And the ignorance that went on at that time, when you're talking about the people were the pilots and stuff in the Army Air Corps, it was segregated.
Mm-hmm.
The black soldiers only did oil changes, basically. They weren't smart enough. They didn't have the capacity to be pilots.
Mm-hmm.
And Eleanor Roosevelt decided that's bullshit. And they put them down in Tuskegee, and they gave them planes, and they taught them how to fly. And the guys took pride in what they were doing because they were American, and they wanted to go fight, and they wouldn't let them. And then they turned around and finally put them in the European theater. And all of these segregated hillbillies and rednecks that ran around talking about, white-sided tracks and black-sided tracks got their asses saved by a bunch of black guys who they would not even allow at their table on 4th of July picnic. It's that kind of thing. And those Tuskegee guys lost an awful lot of pilots.
Sure they
didn't
did.
lose any bombers,
Mm-hmm.
but they lost an awful lot of pilots. And people don't understand that. So I see where that's coming from. I think that's a brilliant idea. I do think that would be one of the best public relations things he could ever do.
Well,
but from the standpoint of where I'm at right now, I grew up with the Seminoles and I grew up with the Redskins.
Sure.
And I remember the Cleveland Indians.
Right.
And the Atlanta Braves and the
Chicago Blackhawks. Right.
Blackhawks.
Right.
And all of that. It didn't bother me.
Right.
And it doesn't mean to me that you're trying to tell somebody you're not worthy when you're actually naming a football team after the Redskins. And it's a different time period in the 40s and 50s whenever they came out, but it's traditional now. And what's the
tradition? I mean, what again? Does it affect you? Does it affect a Washington Redskins fan? It's not going to affect him.
Redskins fans, I would think if I'm from Washington and I
tradition is just a word to say, you know what? It's traditional to have a radio show and not take callers. It's traditional to have a radio show and have somebody wait for 30 minutes and only talk for 2 minutes. Screw tradition. We don't talk tradition here. We got tradition people that have been in the business. But it's really, I mean, if you think about it,
the NFL flip-flop.
But the point is this: if we on Bucs Report and the Sports Web thought the same way that everybody else is thinking it's traditional, then we wouldn't have callers, we wouldn't have text messages, we wouldn't have the interaction because people look down on that. So
where does it stop, Peter?
Well,
when are they going to change Pontiac, Michigan?
I don't.
Are they going to go out and people are already talking about Columbus, Ohio needs to change the name of
I don't
town?
think the world is ending because they're changing names or doing this or doing that. I think
sometimes change is good.
Thank you. Sometimes
change is needed.
Right.
Change's sake, but I'm against the fact that everybody nowadays is offended, and they're offended over everything. And could you imagine if they put Archie Bunker and George Jefferson on television?
Yeah,
today?
that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work today.
No, it would not work. And there's a lot of movies out there the same way. It has nothing to do with anything with race. It just wouldn't work. It just is the way it is right now. And that's the thing.
I think the thing that bugged me the most about it is that Snyder owns the team and he can do what he wants to do, and you may or may not agree with him. But then Nike turned around and they're like, boom.
Well, that's how NFL owners are. I mean, they're money driven. Why is this a shock? Let me count the ways of why this is not a shock, Matt. Let me count the ways. NFL had nothing. They suspended Ray Rice for 2 games. He was able to take his wife up there, talk to Roger Goodell. They had nothing to say about domestic abuse until TMZ came out with the video, and then they wanted to suspend him, and then they wanted to take a stance on domestic abuse.
You think that domestic abuse is the same caliber as the name of a football team?
I just think the NFL is driven by money and the bottom line. And why is it a shock that if a sponsor takes away from their cash cow that they're not going to react? I mean, everybody's acting like they're woke or something. They're not. They're just about the green. That's all they care about. And that's the point.
We're going to agree to disagree. I just don't see it that way.
I don't know how you can disagree with me when you just put it out there that Nike and FedEx basically said, we're offended by it. We're stripping it down. We don't want anything to do with the Redskins name. And Daniel Snyder has changed his tune. It's point blank. It's right there. The NFL is guilty of it. Roger Goodell is guilty of it.
How was it any less offensive last month than it is this
because
month?
Because FedEx, Matt, and because Nike decided that they are offended by it and they're going to strip it down. Whether you're offended by it or not, it is an issue with money, and the NFL is looking at it from the standpoint, it's always been offensive. It may have not offended you. It may have offended somebody else, okay? But at the end of the day, what I'm telling you is the reason why they've come to this decision, Matt, is because their cash cow has been taken away. Anything else, buddy?
Nope. I got it. I'll just let it go. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I see some comments coming up there. It's just the guy talking, and we're allowed to do that.
No, you're allowed to talk. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying if you're surprised by that decision, go back and look. I'll give you this, Matt. I'll give you this. Right? The NFL and the owners supposedly care about CT and concussions, right? No, they don't. They knew for 20 to 25 years that players were getting concussions. When did they start to act? When people started to give away their little secrets, when people started to say, you know what, we're going to sue you down the line. There's going to be lawsuits that are going to come down the line. Then they started to act right instead of say, oh, we need to change the rules because there's people that are dying. There's people that are getting CTE. There's people that are not living the best lives. Lifespan is being cut down. Why are you surprised by it? I'm not here to sit here and tell you I think it's offensive. There's no Redskin tribe in Washington. There's nobody out there that's saying I'm offended. I'm not going to get paid tomorrow because the Washington Redskins changed their damn name. Everybody just needs to grow up, okay? And they need to get over it and just relax and let things take change. If we all had this type of attitude all the time about changing things, then nothing would get accomplished. Oh, we used to do it this way. We used to do it that way. Oh, we can't do it this way. Why? Why can't we do it that way? Who is it affecting? Well, there you go. Let the truth set you free.
The catalyst is we're not seeing the point. The catalyst of all of this.
The catalyst is the money. Follow the money. That's what it's been about. The NFL is about money. Nike took it away. FedEx took it away. It's always been offensive. Now they're acting on it. Change has happened. Matt, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you.
Guys have a good night.
I mean, geez, I'm blown away by it. Oh, everything's gonna.
It's simple. With the NFL, anyway, it's very simple. The NFL is driven by economy. The NFL is driven by dollars. And anytime you talk about taking away a major portion of their money, they start to listen real well. They start to hear a whole lot of people that they didn't listen to in the past, and you can see it. And we bringing up. He's bringing up why. I mean, the Colin Kaepernick, Roger Goodell talking about Colin Kaepernick. A few years ago, he didn't even say his name, but now it's okay, right? Because why? Because companies are saying this is not right,
right?
And so,
Right, exactly.
But we still love the NFL, but still, they're full of ish, and we all know it.
And anybody who says, I'm not going to watch a game anymore because they changed the damn Washington Redskins name, you're a damn liar. And welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. And by the way, this is nothing traditional at all. I'm a raving lunatic, all the things that I'm doing right now. But welcome to my madness. There's a method to my madness here on Bucs Report. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Buzz himself. More Buzz in the Charlotte Hornets. Rick Brown. No, you're not supposed to use nicknames. And we've got also Anthony Hunte, who I'm going to get out of here. I know that you have a girlfriend here, so go ahead, promote yourself. We'll get you out of here.
My Twitter handle is pretty much my name in the red. You can add me on Facebook. It's just my name, Anthony Bamondi, and I'll probably have my first episode of the A-Gap next Thursday.
All right. Good stuff. I can't wait to see it, buddy.
Megan, we said, hey.
Yes. Be good. Okay, you're taking advice from a single guy, but I would know here. I got some years on you, my friend. So be good to her and definitely have a great weekend. All right, my friend?
You too. Bye, guys.
There you go. Good stuff there. Let's go ahead and go out. Dude here. Dude wants to talk. Dude, welcome to the Evolution. What's on your mind?
Gentlemen and everybody watching, how we doing tonight?
Hey,
Rick.
Yes,
Rick, it's
sir.
always great to see Rick. Peter, obviously great job. I wanna bring the tone down for a minute in an effort to move on from it. And listening to some of the callers and the comments, the offensive name, the not offensive name. Let's clarify something for those who aren't. So right now, it's a teaching moment, kind of like the graphic of the more you know, okay? Let me tell you about the story of what Redskin means.
Oh, boy.
It's not a tribe,
Here we go.
okay? It's not a tribe of Native Americans. It's not a group of Native Americans.
Preach.
A Redskin is the scalp of a dead Native American. These signs were posted throughout the United States of America, and the way it worked was you went out and killed and scalped as many Native Americans as you can, and the United States government would pay you for it. Okay? So yes, Redskin is offensive. It's no different than saying, I'll pay you for your bloody baby. It's a life. Whether you like the life or not, the United States was founded on their land and with their blood, and we put bounties. There was bounties on these people. So when you have a national football team, ironically located in the nation's capital, and it's called something like Redskins, that is honestly more offensive, or at least as offensive. I'll be fair. That's as offensive if you were to open up an NBA team and call them the Harlem, and you fill in the blanks. Okay, it's right on that level, and that's what people don't get. They're like, Redskin wasn't offensive 2 days ago. Yes, Matt, it was. You just weren't aware of it. Redskins wasn't offensive 20 years ago when Riggins was running down the people's throats and Theismann was the quarterback everybody loves. Yes, it was. You guys just weren't aware, or you chose to ignore it. But here's the fact. I see the comparisons. Redskins offensive. No, it's not. It never offended me. Dude, it wasn't offended because you're not educated. You're not educated on this matter. Okay? So when you have Native Americans or people with Native American ancestry in their family lineage, and they're talking to you, listen. It's just like the Black Lives Matter movement, people. Instead of listening so you can respond because you think you know it all, listen to hear.
And to understand.
Talk to these people.
Yeah.
They aren't here to change your way of life. They're not here to take away your precious football team. They're here to say, hey, we've been living with this abuse for years, and now you're going to have to pay attention. Now you need to pay attention. And the problem is we all should be paying attention. But no, you guys are going to go on YouTube and find like 5 Native Americans who say, I like the Washington Redskins. I'm a season ticket holder. Dude, blow me on that. Miss me with that bull crap. The fact of the matter is, it's about a Native American's bloody scalp. And for you guys who are like, what does that even mean? You don't live through being scalped, especially back in those days. So If you think it's not offensive, it's because you choose not to think it's offensive. But here's the thing. How can you possibly make a determination what's offensive when it's not something that offends you? I understand where you guys come from, and I understand you don't want to change the status quo. But let me ask you a question. For everybody who doesn't want any change in this country, whether it be the name of syrup, a football team, or regulating and monitoring the police more closely, for the people who don't want change in this country, you are also the same people who are constantly bitching about how horrible the country is. So get over yourself, grow up, realize the world is not catered to you and is only determined the rules because of how you feel. We are a human race. The fact that we are in 2020 and still talking about Black Lives Matter or Native American issues, that's the problem, people. The problem is none of us or half of us or majority of us have refused to progress as a species, the human species. With that, man, I don't want to keep blowing up your show. I kind of wanted to jump in here and throw that out there so we could get back to football because, dude, we got Rick Brown.
I know, we got Rick Brown on.
We got people lined up in the lobby. So let's take this down a notch and realize just because it doesn't offend you doesn't mean it's not offensive. And with that, the dude's going to have a smoke and sit down. Enjoy your night. Happy 4th of July and Independence Day to each and every person because that's who deserves it. Not anybody more so than the other.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, dude. All right, let's go ahead and get Mr. Anthony Paulbear, the big board from Canada. Let's get him on here. If he froze, I think he froze up.
Whoa.
A little. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sometimes it happens. We've got Rick,
there we go.
Our newest writers here on Bucs Report, of course, and we got Joshua Cole Allen. So we've got 5 people here. Welcome to the Evolution. It's been a busy night here, guys. Foremost, Andrew Paulbear, big board from Canada. What's going on tonight, buddy? How you doing?
Not too much, my friend. Just about to enjoy the weekend. Happy, what is that, Independence Day? Yes. Happy Independence Day to my American friends. I hope all is well.
Did you guys have Canada Day?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we had Canada Day for sure about 3 days ago.
Yes. Happy belated. Happy belated.
Thank you.
I swear he's doing that accent on purpose, eh? Let's go, Joshua Cole Allen. Welcome to the Evolution. What's on your mind tonight, boss?
What's going on, guys? How's everyone doing today? Glad to be here. Glad to see y'all. Glad that dude cleared that up because that was wild. But Canada, what's that all about, Andrew?
It's just our birthday. I believe. No, it's just our birthday. It's when our nation basically, got together to create a whole nation. Now, is that the same as Independence Day?
We call it Will Smith Day here, but same thing.
Oh.
Welcome to Miami.
Yes, Rick. Independence Day. Who's the best character besides Paxton and Will Smith? Is it Randy Quaid?
Was Paxton in there?
I thought
he's the president.
Is it Paxton or Pullman?
It was Pullman.
I get them mixed up. But Randy as the guy, the drunk who eventually saves him, is just is the American dream, I guess.
You forgot Jeff Goldblum. He's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm sorry about that. So, welcome to the Evolution. What's on your mind? We got 2 Ricks tonight. We got Rick Brown, Mr. Bob.
Rick, what's out, bro?
How you doing?
All right, my friend.
All right, guys. So the big story has been the report, and we've kind of talked about this already, Rick, about the 2 games that we were Rick Brown not having 2 games in the preseason, and now basically the NFL Players Association coming to a call last night, and it could be changed over to no preseason games. Big board, how do you feel about this?
I mean, personally, I don't want preseason games just as, in general, but I know that most of the NFL players and most of the NFL owners anyway are going to want them. But taking 2 away, especially with not that many, training camps that available to most of the teams, it may harm a couple of these teams, especially with the rookie quarterbacks, just trying to get them into the swing of things, even if it's vanilla schemes in the preseason and they're not going to show their hands. It's still getting those young guys out there just to be able to get those hits in, to take those hits and read. That's what the main thing for the quarterbacks is to do, is to read the plays, see where they're going, and that 2 games would help. But we'll get to see here pretty soon, hopefully, right?
Yes, hopefully. Joshua Cole Allen.
Well, I kind of reported this on Wednesday that there was a possibility that the NFLPA on your show would be pushing back against playing any preseason games at all, and I can completely understand why. First of all, they want them to play a home and a road game, which would mean the team would have to travel on the road. With everything going on in this current climate, it's something that it is very treacherous path to take is to pack up your whole facility and move them to a new location and hope that location has been cleaned and sanitized properly and that they're not interacting with anybody as well. So I can understand the NFLPA. It's already a risk for them as it is to go to their own training camp facilities. So I can understand that from their point completely. And I have to agree with them. It will hurt the undrafted free agents and the rookies as well. But now you're also getting reports that they might not even bring a 90-man roster, that they might bring a 75 to 80-man roster, which means 10 to 15 players would in essence be cut right away before training camp starts. Not only that, they're also talking about having 2 separate squads almost and breaking the teams up. The NFLPA wants to make the groups smaller. They want to keep them in, almost position groups type deal with skilled players, offensive, defensive linemen, and stuff like that kind of together to work together instead of having the whole team. They've also talked about having, the first 10 or 15 days as conditioning, the next 10 or 15 days as practice without pads, and then the next 10 to 14 days with light padded practice. So it's all up in the air. You're not going to see that many padded practices. And with that, you're also probably not going to see training camp. Preseason games in this training camp schedule. It's a thing that's a blow to, as Andrew said, the players who are trying to make this team, especially as undrafted free agents, because you take a look at the Buccaneers undrafted free agents, and we've spoken to many of them: Reed Sinnett, Javon Hagan, Nick Leverett. The list goes down on with Zach Shackelford, John Molchin, Michael Divinity Jr. There's a plethora of undrafted free agents that could possibly make this team because, as we just mentioned, those are spots on the team that have questionable depth: outside linebacker, inside linebacker, offensive line, defensive backfield. So those are positions, quarterback. So those are positions that, we could have used as fans, and the team could have used preseason games to watch and evaluate and kind of see where they're going to fit or if they're going to fit. And without those games, it becomes tougher. But it's about safety at this point because, in essence, if you told me we could have 4 or 2 preseason games or none and the season started on time, I don't know about you boys, but I'm picking the season starting on time.
How do you feel about this, Rick? Rick Hughes.
Practice? We talking about practice? Listen, here's the thing. I think this is actually an advantage for the Bucs. Everybody's acting like it's a disadvantage because we have Brady now. Brady's been practicing. He knows all of that. Look, we've got 143 coaches on our staff. Everybody's going to get in front of the coaches. That's not going to be an issue. It's not like some teams where the coaching staff is limited. You have a smaller group of people. Guys aren't going to get eyes on. I mean, this is a whole different situation. I mean, I'm fine. I don't care about preseason. If these players are getting in front of the coaches, if the coaches are really learning what we're dealing with, I'd rather them be practicing every day rather than traveling, rather than dealing with game planning and getting used to all of that. These guys don't need that. They don't need all that. They need to have the chance to show in front of the coaches. And this is their chance to do that because we have 143 coaches or whatever on staff. They have the chance to do it. I mean, I think about the other teams where the guys are afraid to go out and play, or they're not going out and holding private practices now, and they're not doing all of that stuff. There's a whole difference. I mean, I think it's an advantage for the Bucs. So what do I think about it? Awesome.
All right, good stuff. Let's go ahead and reset the subject here. Let's go out to the sporting news. Bill Bender says that the Patriots, I know Joshua Cole Allen is getting excited about this, have more of an opportunity to do better and make the playoffs than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mr. Buzz, is that where you see Cam Newton? They pick him up 1 year, 7.5. There's a lot of doubt if he's healthy or not, but still, you have to play in that division. You look at Brady, and this article points out that he believes that Newton and the Patriots have more weapons than Brady and the Bucs. Am I missing something here, Mr. Buzz?
Whatever that person was smoking, I need some of that because I think it's some new era stuff here. I don't see how the Patriots have more talent, especially offensively, than Tampa Bay. I just and I think you and Ant went down, or maybe it was you and Leo went down the line. If you go the first 4 or 5 receivers, I mean Edelman gets in there maybe at 4. So I'll give him 3. I'll give Edelman 3.
Right,
but that's it. That's it. And so no.
Can I say something to you, Rick?
They had, but that's about it. No,
Rick,
and I don't even see 9 wins for them.
Rick, let me ask you something, Rick.
Yeah, Rick.
Buffalo's really the only competition New England has in that division. So New England it's not out of the question for them to make the playoffs. And that's what originally Peter said, is who has got a better chance of making the playoffs. The Bucs have a tougher division, so it may be more difficult to make the playoffs. It doesn't mean that New England's going to be better than the Bucs.
Well, I was just taking it from the player standpoint, but you're absolutely right there. But I'd also believe that, I mean, Miami always plays them tough and usually splits with them.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a cakewalk for New England.
No.
Even with an upgrade with an upgrade from what they have at quarterback. You know, if Cam is at MVP level or if he's at 2 years ago level. Whatever.
Upgrade at quarterback over Brady?
No, not over Brady.
Because that's what they had. What's the difference?
Those clowns that they have now.
Oh, okay.
He's an upgrade there. So, but I still think that program's pretty good. So I just don't think that I just don't understand what the writer was saying in terms of they have more talent. That's what just set me off.
Did he say he said they have more talent?
Yeah, the Patriots have more talent, better talent around them than the Brady and the Bucs. And what he was saying is not only Josh McDaniels being there, but also running backs and a Sonny Michel, and of course a James White and Julian Edelman, who was 100 receptions last year. They believe that they actually have better weapons around them than the Bucs. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I get it. You know, there's some question marks here, guys. Andrew Fulbear, the big board, with the running game, but we've kind of talked about it where we've heard instances where Brady is very impressed with what Ronald Jones is putting on, on the field with the private workouts. And then, of course, the Bucs draft Keyshawn Vaughn. So to me, the running game actually may be a strength for this team. And I get it. People are looking at names, Sonny Michel and James White, but the Bucs, they may have a little bit better there.
I mean, it is debatable. I mean, James White is a proven Super Bowl winning running back. I mean, he knows what to do in the system when he has the right quarterback to give it to him. So I'm going to give James White the upper hand right off the bat to Vaughn, only because we haven't seen what Vaughn can do in the Buccaneers system just yet. Now, when you're going to put Ronald Jones against Sonny Michel, a lot of people will go Sonny Michel right away. I know Josh would probably do the same thing, and even I would right off the bat. But when you kind of look down at the tape and what Ronald could do in this type of offense compared to what Sonny Michel is going to continuously do in the type of offense that they got in New England, I think Ronald Jones has got a little bit more of a higher upside, whereas Sonny Michel's yards per carry last year I think was 3.7. Josh, I know you would probably be able to figure or to know that better than I would. But I think it was 3.7. It was around 4 anyway. I think he can get back to 4, but Sonny Michel is, the ceiling is still kind of reached. Cam has got targets. He's got Sanu and he's got Harry when he comes back. But to say that Sanu is better than Godwin is laughable. To say that Harry's got any more of an upside than what Evans potentially still has is laughable. The running backs you can give. Tight ends you can't. The tight end unproven. All the tight ends on Tampa Bay are proven by far. Cam can get them 8-8, 9-7, 10-6, depending on injuries that may happen. But the Buccaneers' upside this season is a far greater bet to take than the Patriots having a better season than the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and then Vegas has them, Joshua, at 9.5 wins for both teams. And what they were saying is that what Rick Hughes was saying is that it is a tougher division. But for me, as I pointed out before with Leo, New Orleans, to me, is the only team in this division that's really worthy of consideration. You have Atlanta Falcons. You really don't know what they are. They have weapons. The defense kind of falters. It's been faltering ever since they blew that 28-3 lead. Just got to put that in there for you.
They had a lot of injuries last year on defense. You never know what to expect out of the Falcons, and I hate them.
Yeah.
Okay, let me be clear, but I mean, seriously, you just don't know what to expect. They could pop out and be 14-2. They could be 2-14.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't say that because then they get Trevor Lawrence.
But they've already got Matt Ryan. Isn't he the best quarterback in the NFC South?
Oh, that's what.
Would you? Sorry, Peter.
No, I'm saying to Joshua here, you look at the division as a whole with the AFC East, I feel like it's kind of tightened up with Miami getting better, with, of course, the Jets getting better. I think they're going to be a better team this year. And then, of course, the Buffalo Bills, to me, they could be the AFC East. But, of course, you kind of disagree with that. So just talking to you about this article, do you feel like this writer has a point with the Patriots having a bigger advantage than the Bucs?
It all depends. You got to break that down in certain parts of the article. Yes, the Patriots probably have an easier path to the playoffs because the Bills, while yes, their defense is formidable and they brought in Stephon Diggs, their running game is still questionable. I like Singletary, but I mean he hasn't proved himself yet. He was injured part of the year last year. They had Frank Gore there as well, and Josh Allen. For someone with my namesake, if he can't get his accuracy issues down, then it's going to be the same thing as always. You know, that's what they're banking on, is that bringing in someone like Stephon Diggs is going to help him fix his accuracy issues working, this offseason. But if you can't do that, I think the Jets are still a year or two away with Sam Darnold. They didn't bring in enough weapons to help him. I like Denzel Mims. Le'Veon Bell, you don't know what you're getting with him. They really don't have any other wide receivers besides that. The tight end is Chris Herndon. And then that defense has some shining spots on it, but it's not solid. And we all know that offensive line is patchwork. They pretty much brought in everyone's cast overs, leftaways, and put them on there and see if they work. But without an offseason, it's going to bring time for them to come together and gel. Miami, I think, is still a year away. I like what they did on defense. I also like, what they kind of have on offense. I still think they could use another running back and also more wide receiver weapons. I don't think Tua is going to be the immediate starter for this team. I think they're going to go with Fitzmagic, which brings you back to the Patriots. They brought in Cam Newton. They do still have Julian Edelman, who was over 100 yards and was banged up the entire season, now healthy. Mohamed Sanu came over in a trade, didn't really have time to learn the offense, and he was banged up as well, now healthy, faster, stronger. They have a guy like N'Keal Harry, first-round pick, banged up, not healthy. Now he's healthy, another year in the system, knows the playbook. Jacoby Myers, another guy. They drafted 2 tight ends, Asi, oi. They drafted Dalton Keene. So those guys with Matt Lacoste, with Ryan Izzo back there, and Andrew already mentioned the running backs, and I agree with him. Sony Michel, I think you kind of seen what he's going to be. Maybe he gets over that 1,000-yard hump, but you kind of see what he is. Excuse me. They have guys like James White there, who's proven should have been the MVP of that Super Bowl against the Falcons, 28-3. Never forget. So with that said, I do see their path there. Now, breaking down the second part, weapons, laughable. I mean, we're talking about the best duo of wide receivers in the entire National Football League. We're talking about not possibly the best tight end group. And we don't even get into Tanner Hudson and Anthony Auclair, Tanner Hudson's receiving ability and Anthony Auclair's blocking ability, because And unfortunately, their growth is going to be stunted, and only one of them is probably going to make the team. But they showed flashes that they could be, those type of players that could contribute. Gronk, OJ, Cam, they're all very versatile, can use them in multiple ways. Then you look at the running back. We talked about Rojo. Rojo has not hit a ceiling, and we've seen what he could potentially do. Remember, last year he split carries almost evenly with Peyton Barber and still got the job done and still looked good. Yes, he had some mistakes. Pass blocking, it needs to be fixed. And it looks like he's taken steps to do that this year. Also, route running needs to be fixed. Again, watch his Twitter feed. It looks like he's taken steps to improve. But until we see that, we don't know. Keyshawn Vaughn, very high on, looks like a James White clone, but with better rushing ability. And I think if Ronald Jones does struggle, he takes over midseason as that starting back. So looking at that, then looking at the quarterback, Tom Brady, you know what he can do. Would you want anybody else in a 2-minute drill other than Tom Brady? No. Cam Newton's coming off a shoulder injury, off a leg injury. You don't know if he's still the same guy. You hope he is. You think he can be. And, I think he can be too. But weapons, laughable. And listen, I'm from New England. I was a Patriots fan, but I work for Bucs Report. I'm a Buccaneers fan. I'm all in on this team. This is my team going forward. I've got Tom. I've got Gronk down here with me. They obviously followed me because they knew what a good thing was. So, I'm just saying, the Buccaneers are legit, and they're going to be the team to beat in this division and in this league come football season, whenever it starts.
Rick Hughes, his point is also the writers is that the NFC is a lot stronger than the AFC. He says, Kansas City, Baltimore, those are the kind of teams that you're looking for. But they had 4 teams in the NFC have over 10 games. Of course, that would include New Orleans and San Francisco, and of course Green Bay. And does he have a point on that? I mean, is it a stronger? Is that the reason why you think the Bucs may falter, because the conference overall is stronger than the AFC? So Cam Newton may have an easier time.
I think if it comes to comparing straight up talent, you can't compare it. And I mean, the Bucs have better overall talent all around. Everybody talks about the Bucs offensive line like it's not that good. They graded out 10th. And now they're going to be better because they had to deal with a quarterback who held onto the ball, finally got rid of it on like Thursday. Okay. I mean, this is going to be better all around. The defense is going to be better because of Tom Brady, because teams are going to try to keep the ball out of his hands. They're going to play a different kind of game against the Buccaneers. It's a whole different deal. I mean, we got the whole Brady bunch here. I mean, everybody here. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, is this talent even remotely comparable?
I mean, I was kind of laughed at by Joshua Cole Allen when I made the bet for wings that the Patriots wouldn't have more than 6 wins. And look, I'm looking at Cam Newton. I think he's definitely a special talent, but is he going to be healthy? And then on top of it, does he have enough weapons around him? Cam has been able to get it done without some of the weapons, but the Patriots have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL. The Bucs, they have a lot of advantages at this point, and one of those, and we've talked about it before, guys, and anybody could chime in on this, is the fact you really don't face a quality quarterback besides Drew Brees the first week. You don't face a quality quarterback until mid-October in Aaron Rodgers. That is an absolute stunning advantage over anybody else, in my opinion.
And not only that is majority of your home games are in the end of the season. I think, 5 out of the 8 are towards the latter half of the season. Not to mention that Week 13 bye. The one thing I will say, and I will agree with Rick Brown wholeheartedly, is that with that program in place, with Belichick there, McDaniels there, with Gerard Mayo and his son Steve Belichick, they know how to win, schedule or no schedule. They'll get the job done. They'll play week by week, and I would never count them out. That being said, that schedule is going to be hard to overcome if they do not gel quickly. As for the Buccaneers, if they don't gel quickly, well, they have a couple, I wouldn't say easy teams, but you have Carolina, who's going to be struggling to find their identity. You have, Drew Lock and the Broncos. You have these teams here that even if you do stumble a little bit, you should be able to pull out a victory until you get to that Aaron Rodgers game, until you get to those multiple lineups, primetime games against Chicago and Oakland and New York and the such. You should be able to kind of get yourself reeled together. Again, that's if there is a season, and if it starts on time. We won't know that until it happens.
Well, hopefully there is a season, but even if there isn't, you'll still have the sports web I'm your host, Peter Blake, the evolution of sports talk television. Join the 65,000 following we have here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Of course, being live on all those platforms. Like, share, and stalk, whatever you do here. We got Rick Brown, Mr. Buzz himself, more Buzz than the Charlotte Hornets. We got Mr. Andrew Polbert, the Canadian Big Board. We got one of our newest writers here, John Cole Allen, and also another new writer here, Rick Hughes, on Bucs Report, talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and around the NFL. Bucs Wire, Colin Leota says since 2015, the Buccaneers' best preseason chances to make the playoffs, according to Football Insiders, was 33.1 in 2017. Of course, Rick, we all know about that situation, Hurricane Irma, Hard Knocks. What's his name? The greatness of the defensive tackle, Mr. Tree Humper himself. The name escapes me right now.
I like the linebacker from that Hard Knocks. I forget his name, but I liked him a lot. I can't think of his name, but sorry. Continue.
Not Joe Dirt.
No,
Burrow.
I think he had the long hair. Yeah,
Burrow.
That was him.
I follow him on Twitter. He's my
What was his
boy.
name?
I love that guy.
Yes.
What was his name?
What was his name?
Burrows. Riley Burrow.
Yes, I love that guy. I thought he was one of the best stories of that season. Sorry, go ahead, Peter.
Oh, no, it's okay. This season, Pro Football or Football Insider says 62.9 chance to make the playoffs. Good for second in the division, behind the New Orleans Saints at 82.5 and fifth in the NFC. So once again, we see these percentages and numbers, Rick Brown, Mr. Buzz. It looks like once again the NFL. It seems like Football Insiders is favoring him to make the playoffs. There's a lot of pressure here, and the question has always been posed on this show: is this the most pressure-packed year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers besides the Super Bowl year? And even that Super Bowl year, I still feel like with this story here, it kind of conveys that fact.
Pete, do you want the truth? I mean,
Yeah.
do you want the truth here?
Yes.
The whole truth.
You can't handle the truth. This is going to be a while. Listen, you know how I feel about stats. Just
Yeah.
a former head coach talked about stats and all that.
Absolutely. Yes.
You're right, Josh. If they stumble early, though, if this team stumbles early, there's too many teams that were right on the cusp last year. And if you think of the teams in the NFC who you think, which one will it be? Will it be the Eagles or that other team in Texas? Or will the team in the Giants, will they be better? Will they get into the mix? The Vikings, the Bears. What about the Bears? Will their quarterback situation just throw them off? There's so many teams in our West. You have San Fran and my man Russell and the Seahawks.
Arizona Rams.
They're going to improve, you would think, but I'm not sure they're ready yet.
DeAndre Hopkins.
This year's a crapshoot, though. I mean, I really don't think we have any idea what's going to happen. I mean, because of the way that no preseason or two preseason or what kind of practices are going to happen, what players are going to opt out, and I still think that's going to happen. I think we're going to lose. Not we as a team. I'm saying as the overall NFL group of players, we're going to lose some players.
Oh,
because I mean, who is it? I just heard who was the quarterback whose wife just recovered from cancer?
Matt Stafford.
Yeah, Matt Stafford. Now what happens? You go to practice, you play these games, you come back with COVID-19. Your cancer survivor wife now has to deal with this. I mean, we're going to lose some players overall in this league this year who are going to have to opt out, who are going to have to make tough decisions. I think that's probably going to happen. I don't know. I mean, you never know when this vaccine's going to come around, but there are some. I just think this it's the Wild West right now. We have no idea what's going to happen with this year, and it's going to be fun to sit and watch. And that's why I'm so darn excited about Brady and the private practices that they're having and the motivation he's showing and the way that people are following him, because I feel like that's giving us a leg up in the sense that I don't see a lot of other teams that are as cohesive. This team feels like it's just coming together, and you got a lot of other teams that are getting pulled in a lot of different directions for a lot of reason, and it feels like the Bucs are pulling together.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it definitely benefits them, Big Board, that they're going to have these private workouts. But I think we all assume here on this panel that there could be some big time slow starts from some of these teams, especially with the new coaches.
Well, yeah, and what Rick actually is bringing up is a very good point with Brady. Brady is having these workouts because he is a veteran. He is the GOAT. And that's what is basically going to happen. A lot of these teams who have veterans and leadership on that team are probably the ones that are going to do the best. Hence why the Chargers didn't get rid of Tyrod Taylor. They said they were going to run him because at least knows how to play a professional system right away. Now, with the NFL saying that, the Bucs are going to finish fifth, right behind the Saints, kind of where I got them. And that's just where everything has been situated right now. Cam going to the Patriots has kind of put a wrench in a couple of teams' schedules. The injury in Philadelphia has kind of done that as well with the offensive linemen. But everything still is falling into place that the Buccaneers are making the playoffs. And we are all happy and excited for that because we know it's going to happen barring any major injury that could possibly happen or the season being canceled. It is going to be fun because it is finally there.
I mean, think about this. Everybody go around here, each of you one at a time. Who do you think out of the NFC, if you had to pick the top team in the NFC this year, who's it going to be?
For me, I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have done everything correctly in the offseason, draft-wise. You get the greatest of all time. He didn't have weapons last year, so 24-8 to me is a misnomer. I think it's an outlier. I think he's going to have a special year. I think the Bucs are going to be unbelievable. And then on top of it, the most underrated aspect is this defense. The way they played in the second half of the year. Somebody reminded me of this. No 300-yard passer in that second part of the year. You face some pretty good quarterbacks. So I like the Bucs to win 12. Even with the slow start and everything that's going on, I think they win 12 games. They're the top team in the NFC, and I think the Saints kind of take a step back.
And I'm going to go with, San Francisco. They're the reigning NFC champions. Yes, they lost a big defensive piece, but they also added a big defensive piece in Javon Kinlaw. Not only that, they added a wide receiver like Brandon Ayuk. And then, they have Deebo Samuel, who recently injured himself, but should be back and ready to go, by week 2, week 3. If not, they have that running game. The defense is a little more solidified. They have another year together under the system. Jimmy Garoppolo, see what he can do in another year. But just because they won it, I'm going to stick with them, although I tend to agree with Peter.
Rick?
I'm going with the Saints. I think they're cohesive. They're there. They've been knocking on the doorstep the last couple of years. I think they're the top team in the NFC.
Okay, Andrew?
So this is going to be a wild one here, but to be completely honest, with the way that the draft went for them, I do honestly think that the Arizona Cardinals are probably going to be the top team out of the NFC this year. I mean, you got Isaiah Simmons that is going to control that defense, first of all. I'm just going to throw that in there for Peter. That goes to a nice conversation we had back in the day. But not only did they add DeAndre Hopkins, it's giving Kyler Murray, who is a Russell Wilson prototype, I'm going to say, a guy who we know his MLB background. This guy has got, if I'm not mistaken, Josh Jones from Houston did fall to Arizona in the third round.
Third round.
Thank you. So they got at least a little bit of help on the offensive line. They got, a decent running back core. They got one of the best wide receiving cores, probably only third best in the league totally to everybody else. Buccaneers number 1. And it's a team that's ready to go off and surprise a lot of teams. And, me and Josh have gone back and forth many of different times. The only thing I disagree with on his take, just with the 49ers, is someone's got to have a Super Bowl hangover, and I highly think it's going to be the Chiefs.
Well, here's the thing to point out that think about. San Francisco, they've got all kinds of regulations that they're having to deal with right now with not being able to practice, get together. California is in a completely different situation, and they're going to have challenges that other places are not going to have when it comes to that. Arizona also is dealing with a real COVID problem, so that's going to be an issue there. All right, so you're dealing with those. New Orleans, yeah, New Orleans, I mean, they've already been through it. So when it comes to that, when you're looking at places that, when you look at the other teams, there are a lot of hurdles that other teams that we count on and think about are going to be really good teams. I think Arizona's going to be better, but I think maybe Andrew has a little mental frostbite there with saying was saying best in the NFC. But I mean, New Orleans, that's hard to argue with. But what happens if they have an injury or two? I mean, you don't know. But that's still, that team is really good. But how good are they if the dome's empty? I don't know. So, yeah. I mean, there are things that are going to make this year, the teams we count on and that we think about as, oh yeah, it's going to be the Bucs, or it's going to be this, or it's going to be that. Honestly, it could be some random team that we have no earthly idea, that we're not even remotely thinking about. It could be the Detroit Lions. I mean, it could just, because it's going to be a weird year where weird stuff's going to happen. I think I think the Bucs are going to struggle coming out of the gate. I do think they're going to struggle a little bit coming out of the gate.
Gardner Minshew is not winning the Super Bowl.
Rick, yeah, I saw you throw that Washington hat on, and I heard you guys talking about it. I don't want to bring that all back up again, but I had an interesting kind of name for them. The Warhogs, Washington Warhogs, not Warthogs, but Warhogs. It pays homage to that, Hogs line and that, history that they have with the Hogs there. And being in DC, war. I mean, let's face it, Pentagon's there, so, and I think it looked really cool. And, with the logo and just the name, you could kind of keep the colors too, maybe change the yellow, but keep the red, and the Washington Warhogs. Just something
and I do want, I'm going to stick my nose in it here and bring up one thing from that entire conversation. When it came up, well, it wasn't offensive a month ago. Why is it offensive now? Well, at one point, slavery wasn't offensive until it was. Okay. I mean, it's just I mean, you can't just look at it and say, well, we've accepted it all along, so we should continue to accept it.
Right.
I mean, no, let's look at it and go, hey, hold on, maybe there's a problem here. I mean,
hello, let's make a change. If you're not know what you're watching right now, it's the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Burke, along with Mr. Buzz. More buzz than the Charlotte Hornets, Mr. Rick Brown. We've got the big board from Canada, Mr. Andrew Fullbear. Our newest writer here, Joshua Cole Allen, the grinder himself. And, of course, Mr. Rick Keys, another new writer on Bucs Report. So, there you go. You guys all got your nicknames here.
I don't want to go with the grinder, Peter. Can you think of something better? It just makes, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I mean, it just makes me think of something.
And it grind on me.
I'm not on Grinder, guys. I'm happily married.
Oh, geez. All right, we'll figure it out here.
Wow.
All right. Yes. Well, I don't know what's going on here. Open phone line too, if you want to call. And,
Friday night.
727.
Welcome to Friday.
We got
0391. Would you shut up? 727 0391. Sports Web. As you guys keep on trying to talk over me, damn it. That's okay. Yeah, we talked about that issue there. Who do you think's the most disappointing? Well, asking you, Shep. We got dramatic pause himself, Mr. Gabe.
Here we go.
Very excited.
Gabe, go for it.
So y'all were saying about name changes for the Redskins. I wanted to bring that up earlier, but that was made for me, so I'll just say a name change suggestion.
Okay.
What?
There's the pause.
Go ahead. We're still here. We're waiting. You're like one of those announcers that does the movies. We're waiting for the plot line, and you keep on going.
In a new world filled with changes,
Washington Tomahawks.
Gabe's gonna give you his name change.
All right, the Washington Tomahawks. Why the Tomahawks, buddy?
Because name another weapon used by the Native Americans that's as fearsome as a small axe.
Okay, the Washington Tomahawks, Rick. Do you like that?
No.
Oh wow!
No.
no.
Here we go. All right, so they don't like it. That's okay. It's all right. What up, buddy?
Oh God. That was beautiful, Rick. That was just beautiful.
Yes, it was. It was. It was definitely in synergy.
Good job, though. Good job.
Good job. All right, what else, Gabe?
Shite, I don't know what I should. I don't know.
He doesn't have his journal.
I called in just to say that one thing, and
That's
then
it?
Rick came out of left field.
All right.
Sorry, Gabe. My bad, man. Hey,
All right, Gabe.
Gabe, who's going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, who's going to win it? Oh, well, that's right. We all know who you picked, don't we?
We all know who I picked.
I don't know.
He picked
Ravens
Baltimore.
versus Tampa. Tampa wins 21-20. I bet that with Alex Fleming, and I'm betting $20 worth of wings with him.
All right, so Gabe bet $20 of wins on Tampa Bay against Baltimore in a defensive. Yes, Tampa Bay and Baltimore, 21-20.
That's what I have right now.
That's not far fetched. It really isn't in a defensive battle. All right, Gabe. What do you think about the NFL having no preseason games?
You know my stance on that. I am happy.
You're happy. All right. So you're happy. Why are you happy about that? You don't like preseason? You don't like to see second and third stringers battle it out?
I mean, if you're going to figure out roster, if you're going to figure out who's going to be who on the roster, do it on the practice field and see who impresses you the most.
Okay.
I don't
fair.
think you need to travel to an entirely different stadium to evaluate that versus another team. I mean,
Okay.
we already got joint practices, so we can just do it for the preseason.
Well, you got no more joint practices. I mean, and that's the question mark when supposedly training camp is starting up. Good stuff, Gabe. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you. Right?
Appreciate you, Gabe.
All right, good stuff. Open phone line 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Buzz himself, Rick Brown. We've got Andrew Fullbeard, the big board, Joshua Cole Allen, who doesn't like his name anymore, and of course, we've got newest writer here on Bucs Report. We'll think of something. I don't care anymore. We spend too much time on these stupid names in the first place. They're supposed to start on July 28th. Is there a possibility, guys, that they could start later than that? I still go back to this, and I feel like I'm a broken record when I believe that the NFL could start late in October.
If they do push training camp back, you know that the season is going to be pushed back as well. While they did give themselves some flexibility to push everything back and have the Super Bowl at a later date, I believe Al was on here Monday saying that there's really nothing booked for Raymond James Stadium because everyone's still in a wait and see. There's no concerts booked. There's no monster truck shows. There's nothing booked there. So if it does need to get pushed back, that is definitely a possibility. I don't know. I think they want to go ahead and do it, but they want to go ahead and play 4 preseason games. They wanted to play 2 preseason games. It's a very fluid situation, and we won't know until we know. And it could be up until I believe they're supposed to start rookies reporting July 19th. If that's the first step we need to look at. If rookies don't report July 19th, then we know something's up, and we know it's going to be pushed back. And we just got to stay tuned and watch the fluidity of the situation.
Isn't every league, though, every single league is getting cranked up? Why would we think that the NFL's not? I mean, they're going to be the one league that's not going to, that's not going to happen.
Well, Adam Silver came on and said in a press conference the other day that there's no guarantee that the NBA is going to finish their season. And we've just seen massive outbreaks. We've seen with the MLB another 12 outbreaks happen. Positive tests for COVID. So we don't know what it is going to look like. No one's reported. We haven't had full teams to report. So, yes, these teams are starting first. So that's where they're going to take their cue. If the NBA reports, if the NHL reports, and the MLB reports, and there's massive outbreaks, well, then that's going to cause the NFL to take a pause and say, hold on, we can't start training camp on time, or maybe we can, or maybe we can't. So that's why this whole situation is going to be fluid. And yes, all eyes are on those other sports, and the NFL is definitely watching them under a microscope, and that's why we don't know what's going to happen yet. We hope, we think, we pray, but at the same time, we need more information. We need these other leagues to start up to see what's going to happen with them before we can make a solid statement that, yes, training camp's going to start on time. Yes, the league is going to start on time. And we're also not even talking about, we just went through a mini second wave. Well, forget about the fall and the winter when flu season ramps up, and then those beds are already occupied. Flu, turns into pneumonia, and now those hospital beds are taking up. And now on top of that, COVID's ramping up. So it's going to be a very fluid situation where the games could be it could be paused and suspended, just as we just saw with NHL and NBA, and played at a later date. It's so fluid that you can't say anything. We can just sit here and report what we're reading and report what we're saying and give our opinion on it, but nobody knows. Nobody knows.
I agree with that. When Peter asked the question, he said, do we think it'll be delayed, like from the start? And I'm saying, I just don't see it from the start when every other league's getting cranked up. I mean, sure, if something goes completely sideways, of course things can change, but there's no reason to think that the NFL is not, full green light go when every other league is doing
just to
right
jump
now.
back in there too, the NFL and the NFLPA still haven't agreed to a contract about training camp and about player opt-outs and about what happens if a player gets injured or gets COVID. Do they go on the injury report? What happens if he's out and has to go on ICU, or it becomes bad enough where he needs to be hospitalized? What happens with player incentives that aren't going to be reached because a player tests positive for COVID and needs to be? All these things are still things that need to be discussed with the NFL and NFLPA. And I mean, it's July 3rd, almost July 4th here in 6 minutes. Happy Independence Day. But we don't know. They don't know. Nobody knows. And going back, and yes, the plan is to start July 28th, July 19th with rookies and some other personnel starting. But other teams are reporting before that in other leagues. And if they have massive outbreaks, then the NFL is going to say, pause the tape. We need to see what they're doing with their massive outbreaks, because what they're doing is how we're going to adapt our situation to do ours. And they're trying to get everybody in there within the next 2 weeks, I believe, to get everyone back into the local area where they're going to be practicing so they can go through that 2 week, come on, someone help me here. Quarantine. 2 week quarantine before they get back into the league, into the training camp, because you can't have people showing up on the 28th and they've come from Seattle or Houston and now just come right into training camp. They need to quarantine before they come into the state. Right. So it's we don't know. We have tentative dates for everything. Tentative dates for preseason, tentative dates for training camp, tentative dates for regular season games. There's nothing solid. Everything's a fluid situation. It all depends. And we're not going to have a vaccine by the time. And if we do, how many of these players are going to take a vaccine that has been, we're talking about March, April, May, June, July. That's when we got shut down. Yes, the virus has been out since December, and we've known that it should have been on that ahead of time. But we're talking about 5 months. As a player and as a person, are you going to use a vaccine that's developed within the last 5 months that's probably only had, a month of human trials just to go out and play football and make money with no idea of the long-term effects of it? I know as a person, I'm not. As a player who's set to make millions of dollars, even if they opt out, I don't think they are either.
I'll tell you right now, I think it comes down to leagues, and I believe this was on Pro.
Oh, Peter's frozen. Anyone else want to jump in there?
Well, here's all I was going to say, Josh. I don't believe I've not heard.
We're talking stuff coming. We're back. Really quick, Rick. Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
I'm sorry, you froze there. That's why I was talking. Sorry about that.
Right, no problem.
I was just saying, Josh. I've not heard anybody from the league, any players or anything, anybody officially saying, yeah, I think there may be a problem. It's all speculation from media or from outside folks. And
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you go.
Just to finish up your statement, I was just on with the McCourty brothers 2 weeks ago on Sunday. Peter played the thing. They're not going to training camp unless there's contract and an agreement between the NFL and NFLPA. They're up against the clock right now. We're talking about the 19th. What's that? 15 days until rookies report to training camp, and another 11 days, 9 days until veterans report. They're not going to training camp, and they've already said if it comes to a bubble situation, they're not going. And these two are people who are very well respected. They're up for the Muhammad Ali Award in all of sports. I mean, these guys are dialed in with almost every player. They're very well respected. So when they talk, I tend to listen. And if you look on any of the PFT or anything like that, they're quoted multiple times as saying that. They're on the news everywhere. I believe that if there's no agreement in place, and again, with the league starting up, everything's fluid, we need to see, they're not going to come. And I mean, yeah, we're speculating it now, but with the players saying that without an agreement, they're not going, and they're not going to really, they can have the framework of an agreement, but until these other leagues start up, I don't think they're going to have a signed, sealed, delivered on yours agreement.
Right, but that's a couple of players are saying that, and I think we will lose a few players who opt out. I think that's absolutely true, but I don't think this is going to be like a baseball situation. I think it's going to be way closer. The league, there's a better relationship between the Players Association and the league in the NFL, like there is in the NBA, than there is compared to baseball, and even baseball got it done.
Right.
So,
Well, I think baseball is the thing you have to look at. You have to hope for, and I know Johnny Dean's not a baseball fan, so we'll just put that out there. Every time we talk baseball, he wants to tune out. But, this was the article the other day, things that can make baseball cancel, and I feel like fans out there of sports in general have to hope that baseball doesn't cancel. But number one was if restrictions on travel throughout the United States are imposed. Because if you have restrictions on travel, there's not going to be any sports at all unless you have teams in the bubble, much like the NBA is having.
Sorry.
Number two, I'll go ahead and go to you, Joshua, after this. If there is a material change in circumstances such that the commissioner determines after consultation with recognized medical experts and the Players Association that it poses an unreasonable health and safety risk to players or staff to stage those games even without fans and attendance. That's number two. And then the number three reason, if the number of players who are unavailable to perform services due to COVID-19 is so great that the competitive integrity of the season is undermined.
We'll see. With baseball, I feel like, yeah, that's a sport to watch, but it's not the sport to watch. Baseball, they're socially distanced naturally on the field. The sport I'm watching the most is hockey. Hockey, they're hitting each other. They're in each other's face. It's, they're spitting on the ice. And even if you don't spit on the ice, it's hard not to spit on the ice. You're out there drinking water. It comes off of you, it goes there. And another thing, basketball, you're hard in the paint. You're drenched in sweat. You're all over each other. Sweat's flying from one body to another. While baseball might be the sport to watch because if there's rampant outbreaks in baseball, it's like, obviously there's an issue, but if it happens in hockey and basketball, that's how you know there's a big problem because that's the most comparable sports to football because of the contact level that you're going to have.
That's not a problem in hockey because Canada's got that healthcare system.
Yeah, it's free. That's why I was saying, if you guys have a problem playing football, we can just, you guys can come play up here. Wouldn't that be kind of fun? Every single game would be like a Buffalo Bills home game. So,
Rick Brown, how do you feel about this? I mean, baseball, is that one of those things that you're looking at right now to work out? Or like the guys have said, the NBA, the NHL, that's more related to the NFL. So if they fail, then most likely, once again, we're looking at different circumstances for the NFL.
I think we're looking at all of it. I really do. I think the league is really paying attention. I think they want to start on time. I think they want training camp to start on July 28th. But at the same time, once they get the rookies together, once the teams come together, and then if the positive tests come out, which they will, then what do you do? And how do you continue? And I think this is the plan. They're going to look at how basketball handles it, how baseball handles it, and then they're going to formulate their own plan to deal with it moving forward. What I hope does not happen is we get in the season and then we have to have an Olympic COVID break for a few weeks to settle things down and then start up again, I think that could be detrimental.
That's what I think. I mean, I think there's a good shot that we'll have a break in the middle of it. I could definitely see that happening. And then what happens? Yeah, you have the vaccine, which they're already doing human testing on. So that'll be 6 months later that gets started. 6 months of human testing and et cetera. Look, I'm not saying any answer is perfect, but I'm telling you, with the billions and billions of dollars at stake here, the NFL is going to have a season.
Yeah, they're going to have a season, and they've talked about the waiver situation. I think we talked about this before with some guests, but I want to go around again. Rick, would you sign a waiver to go watch your favorite NFL team?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't. Now, I don't think my life is important enough to support any team, any league, any job. No, not. But again, this is just me. But no, there's no way I'm signing a waiver, because if I get sick and I'm covering the team, I'm suing. So that's just the way I feel.
Okay. Big board.
I'm 50-50 on it, but to be completely honest, the only reason why I would say yes is because I would be that dumb guy in the stands that would be decked up in like a dinosaur costume, so I don't think anybody sneezing around me or coughing or anything like that would really hit me. So my skin would not be exposed. I am completely understanding of how hot it is down there. I would somehow get something to cool me down, but yeah, no, I would sign it only because I am who I am. But if we're talking as a normal person, as me, as a father as well, there's no way I'm signing that for the risk of my children. Now, that's the only reason I wouldn't.
Can you imagine going to a Bucs game middle of the afternoon with a mask on? Think your sunburn the next day, or suntan the next day.
Yeah.
I'm a redhead too. It would hurt.
Plenty of sunscreen. So, Rick, you wouldn't sign the waiver either?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I listen, I'm single. I mean, yeah, I probably would sign the waiver. I mean, I'm not the right one to ask. You want me to say no? I think it would be the irresponsible thing to do to sign the waiver, so I would never do that. Sorry, I'd be the idiot out there screaming, hollering, and shouting. I'd put a mask on and a ton of sunscreen, and yeah, I'd enjoy myself and say, let's do it. I mean, I'm not in a high risk category. I'm not around anybody in a high risk category. I'm pretty much, if you go to a game and then for the next 14 days you're stuck at home with, you're self quarantined basically for the next 14 days. Sure. I mean, as long as you think about other people. This to me is the most simple part of this. Is whether you're talking about COVID-19, whether you're talking about the name Redskins, whether you're talking about just about anything, just think about other people. Just be considerate of other people. If you just stop and go, well, look, I mean, I just went to a game. I put myself kind of in a situation where the risk is a little higher. I need to be a little more careful and self-quarantine, maybe a little, I'm going to use the term a little harder than some other people. And you need, sure, yes, I might be willing to take the risk on myself, but I would still keep aware of the fact that I'm not going to spread it to others. And I think if you just consider it and think about other people, just be decent.
Be a decent person.
Great. To be a decent person. There
Yeah.
you go. And Josh Allen, I know how you feel about it, but go ahead and reiterate.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who is a season ticket holder and bought the season tickets in mind with bringing my 4-year-old son, Cannon, with me to the games, it's just something that I can't risk. As Andrew said, as a father, I have a daughter as well coming home, and it's just not something I can risk. I've been to multiple football games by myself, and I know how rowdy people can get, even if there's no tailgating or alcohol. People, it's like Jurassic Park. Life finds a way.
Hey, Joshua, can Andrew and I have your ticket?
Yeah, right. So I'll probably do the opt-out thing. What I'm hoping is that they give you the option for a half-season ticket, where I can opt out for the first 4 games and keep the next 4. But if not, then I'm not going to sign a waiver. I'm going to opt out. I'm going to hold my tickets for next year while getting my refund. I would love to be there. Obviously, being such a Tom Brady fan and Gronk fan and Buccaneers fan, I would love to be there for this magical run that's going to happen that I'm very excited about. But at the cost of my family's, health, it's not prudent for me to make the decision to say, hey, let me sign a waiver and go. If I was you, Rick, in your predicament, absolutely. Hell yeah, let's go. I'd be sneaking nips down my pants and sipping them down in the bathroom stall. Let's do this, let's go.
I mean, I got no kids. I'm single. Why not?
Yeah. But as a father who planned to bring his kids to all the game or most of the games, I can't in good conscience do that.
Totally.
Especially where my wife is around other people. She's back at work. She's considered essential. So giving it potentially spreading it to her to have her to spread to other people, and she works with older people. Even though they're wearing masks, it's just not a prudent decision for me.
Right.
I do have a little bit of breaking news, if so. Tom Brady will no longer be practicing for the foreseeable future with Buccaneers teammates.
I'm wondering if there's not another story that's.
He's in
gonna come
Montana.
out
That's
behind
all.
it.
He's in
Oh.
Montana. He's just in Montana. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, good stuff there. Good with the pause, the dramatic pause. You're trying to be
It's taking over for. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get you guys out of here. Happy 4th. Rick Brown, Mr. Buzz, more Buzz in the Charlotte Hornets. Go ahead and promote yourself and talk about where they can find you and, of course, read your work.
Find me there.
Okay.
Rick Brown, anyone. Thank you for having me on the show. As always, Pete, I love being with these guys. These guys know a lot about football, and I'm constantly learning from you guys every day. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Coming from the GOAT, thank you.
There you go.
You guys take care, definitely. Be safe out there.
All right, buddy. Happy 4th.
Peace.
All right, there you go. Let's go to the big board. Go ahead and promote yourself.
Gentlemen, I believe down there, if I am correct, it is the 4th of July. That means it is Independence Day. Happy Independence Day to your forefather, President Babe Ruth, to your current president, who shall not be named, and to the great sports teams that have graced the American lands, because it's not Canadian birthday. We're not talking about the Canadians here. To all the great American sports leagues that have been created down south. So the Florida Gators, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Detroit Red Wings. I say happy Independence Day. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. You can find me here on Twitter at Andrew_Fulbert. Look for North Sports. I'll be taking a little bit of break from North Sports, but I'll be coming back nice and hard pretty damn soon in about a month and a half, gentlemen. So stay tuned.
All right, there you go. The big board, Andrew Fulbert. Thanks a lot for coming on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right.
As always, Peter King, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hey, all right, let's go out to Mr. Rick Hughes. Go ahead and promote yourself.
All right, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com, Rick H Online. And I've got an article coming out, I believe tomorrow. That's a pretty fun article. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about it. It was a fun one to write. So
right.
Enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it. Of course. What's it called? From the Cheap Seats?
From the Cheap Seats.
There you go. Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Rick Hughes, welcome to the family, of course, and thanks a lot for your time here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television.
You got it. Thank you, guys.
All right, there you go. Rick Hughes. Let's go out to Joshua Cole Allen. I got to come up with a new nickname. He's grinding right now. He's always grinding here on Bucs Report. Go ahead and promote yourself.
So you can find me at Twitter at Joshua_C_Allen. I'm very active on there. I'm tweeting all day about Bucs stuff, national football stuff, Bucs Report stuff. So just, follow me there. Keep up. I also have some very big news. If you're on the Bucs media page or Twitter, or you follow me on Facebook, I'll be launching my own show here coming soon called The Audible with Joshua Cole Allen. Very excited about that. It's going to be Wednesdays, 8 to 9, opening up for my boy right here, Peter Blake. So very excited about that. It'll be streaming on all 3 platforms as well. Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Look out for that. Looking like my start date will be July 15th. So keep that in mind. Excited to get that off the ground. Otherwise, be on Peter's show as much as I can. I also have Thursday Night Live with Charles Richardson, working on a couple articles, working on some interviews with some players, grinding away, as Peter would say. And, I'm just happy to be here. I just want to take a minute to say happy Independence Day. Make sure you celebrate responsibly. If you're doing fireworks, make sure you're careful with it. We all know about our favorite defensive end / outside linebacker. Drink responsibly. If you're going to drink, use an Uber or Lyft. Be responsible about it. But have a great time. Enjoy family. Enjoy friends with masks on at 6 feet their distances. Keep yourself safe. But just have a great time. Happy 4th of July. Peter, thank you again for having me on here. I love being on here. I just love what you do. You're amazing. The way you deal with controversy and circumstances that arise on your show is better than anyone I've ever seen, and you do it with your head held high and with class. So I just want to thank you again for being that guy and being kind of like my mentor and bringing me along. So I just want to give you that thanks, and obviously thanks to all the webheads, all you guys, my YouTube people. You know who you are. Facebook, couple of Twitter people on there that come in and out. Happy Independence Day. Have a great one, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, Joshua Cole Allen. Thanks a lot for coming on the Evolution. All right.
For sure.
All right, buddy. I'll see you around. All right, there you go. So let's go ahead. Go out to the webheads here. Talk to these guys because I have been neglecting you, but that's what happens sometimes. What's it doing? Okay. All right, we're back. Let's see here. It's the Facebook people. Jordan, Bird, Bryant, O'Neal, Johnson over LeBron. The lobby is popping tonight. It is. Curtis may think he's better than LeBron. Curtis may be better than Braun. Johnny Dean, Baker needs to open a bakery and leave football. Baker was a victim of the coach's dumb assery. Okay. All right, Gabe. LeBron is barely a top 10 player of all time, in my opinion. Best virtual edits video. That's like saying Peter is better than Steve Kerr. I'm creeping over here on Peter's Sports Web Facebook page now. There you go. Tampa Prep. Bucs desperately need pass rush depth. We've talked about addressing that eventually. No way do the natives want any native connections to that team. Washington Hogs, laugh out loud. Tampa Prep. Don't see Winston, so guess the Bucs still made the right move. Johnny Dean, I can tell you right now, the Native Americans do not want any connection to that team any longer. I'm going to hold off on the phone calls. We're not going to take any more phone calls for the night. I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate the phone calls, but let's read these comments and then get out of here. Hopefully you enjoy your July 4th of July celebration, Independence Day, once again, safely. Who was the first Tampa Bay Buccaneer in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? That would be Leroy Selman. Washington Dakoters or Washington Warhawks, says Alex Fleming. Fantasy and Flavors, Leroy Selman. Tampa Prep, who was the first head coach for the Bucs? John McKay. Tampa Prep, and what stadium did the Bucs begin playing their home games in 1998? That would be Raymond James Stadium. Tell him, Rick. Ray Perkins, Tampa Stadium. What do you guys think of David Njoku? I think he's on the trading block. He's been a raw specimen coming out, being a first-round pick for the Cleveland Browns. Has never really lived up to those expectations that they've had of him, either for quarterback play or whatever it was, but he definitely wants a trade at this point. So we'll see what happens there. Red Tails would be bad, mean. He can't help us. He's banged up. Rick Brown definitely was in the house tonight. Red Tails would be badass. Rick Brown with the great knowledge. Rick, keep holding it down. OG, absolutely. Blackie, Pewter Blake in the house. Thank you very much, sir. Listen to the professor. Absolutely. Johnny with his weekly call, most likely from his basement. Okay. Rick's a beast. 1,000% agree. Tampa Prep, the Washington team needs to change their name. It's nice to see change. It's been long overdue. Study up on history and learn. Rick Brown, keeping it real 100%. A lot of people didn't get to see it. It's history. Blackie liking his own comments here, like Blackie. Tampa Prep, Doug Williams is too busy recruiting. Let's see. Matt Colson, Red Tails never lost a bomber. They were signed to cover, but they did lose many pilots from the squadron. It's an incredible story, really. African Americans were supposedly inferior, so they just practiced flying in formation for months and months, and they surrogated Army, Air Corps, and had no idea they were black pilots when the Tuskegee guys first came on the scene, but they certainly left an impression. Good stuff, Matt. And like I said, we disagree, we debate, but I was trying to say it was just a money decision by the NFL. That's all. That's how he rolls, like what I said. Imagining losing to Redskins and then a guy saying, you like that? Christopher Cole, they need to boycott the team until they get rid of Snyder. That's not going to happen. They have best virtual edits video. Is this Gabe's father? Should have known the sound alike. They both are from Oklahoma. Stop at history lesson before July 4th. What's this guy saying? What's going on? Johnny says Blackie. What's his points? Matt Colson, you're very wrong. The native counselors are very concerned with the name. It does matter. Johnny Dean, they have been fighting it for 90 years. Best virtual edits video. That's exactly why I stay home or stay away from Oklahoma. Oh my God, history teacher. Dude needs money for this. I don't know what that is. Nice face there. Somebody doesn't know what the term Redskin means. Best virtual edits video. He's taking over your show, Peter. Disable the phones. Would you shut up? Best virtual edits video. Nobody's taking over the phones. We allow you guys to have an opinion. I do run the show, though. This is a needed change, bro. Best virtual edits video course. Never said change wasn't needed. Dylan Casey. Now I'm talking to the guy on the phone. Best virtual edits video. Thank you. Next. Best virtual edits video. Oh, yeah, he's crazy from Oklahoma. Take a breath, Matt. It's going to be okay. Change can be good. Washington changing their name is not going to hurt anyone. Gabe, some change is good. Some change is what you need. Tampa prep. Peter keeping it real. Absolutely. Change for the sake of change is bull. Good for you. Want a cookie? He sees comments. We just don't agree. Says Tampa prep. Christopher Cole, I have a question. What's everyone's opinion on the Black National Anthem? I mean, look, if the NFL wants to play that the first week, I have no problem with it. I mean, again, and that's the NFL's decision. Nobody should have any problem with it. I don't understand the whole, we should all be coming together in this time. And that's what sports is supposed to do, not separate us, make us come together. That's what I feel like the sports web does, makes everybody come together. Whether you disagree or whether you agree or you disagree, we're respectful of our opinions. We do debate. But at the end of the day, if we agree to disagree, we don't hold it against the person. This is not Facebook where you unfriend somebody or you think of them negatively if they think differently of you. That's the great part of having why we're in America, where you have those type of views and you're able to share them. I think that's the great thing about the sports web. Everybody doesn't have to agree with that what everything makes the Bucs great. You don't have to agree that Brady is great. You can disagree with it, but when you do, have something to back it up. That's all I've ever said. Good stuff, man. Thank you very much. Matt has a point. Let the man talk instead of attacking him. I let him talk. It's ridiculous for me. Tampa prep, Washington Nationals, Blackie, Pewter Blake, standing strong, making points, taking calls, and being Pewter Blake. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Blackie. Blake Anthony, would it offend you if they were the Black Washington Blackskins? You don't need a team named by somebody's skin color. Just because money talks doesn't make it right. Never said it did. But I said that's the NFL's decision. That's what they say. He's not educated, Rick. Who do you think will be Tom Brady's top target this year? Could be Chris Godwin. Definitely has the opportunity. With him being in the slot, seeing a lot of slot catches, could be Mike Evans, could be both. I don't know, but I think it's a good problem to have. Chris Godwin could be the main target, though. Blake Anthony, naming a team by skin color is crazy. People have complained about this in the past. Tampa Prep, facts. You're a GOAT, Peter. Thank you very much, Tampa Prep. Appreciate you. Rick got that. Jack and Coke. I'm not ready to assume what's in that cup, but there are no regulations here on the sports web. As long as you can talk sports, we can do it here on the Evolution. Facts. Tampa Prep. The dude should know he's right up there in tally with the Seminoles. 100. Christopher Cole, the dude bringing the facts. Best virtual edits video. We need the dude on every day with the energy. Bring it, dude. Absolutely, says Blackie. Anthony Bamonde. Had a great time tonight. See you guys next week. Absolutely. David, I think the Red Tails would be a perfect name for an NFL team. I think there should be an expansion team. That way they have their own town, their own stadium, and start their own legacy like those men did instead of taking over somebody else's legacies. I think that would be the best way to honor those men. Very good stuff, David. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Peter froze. It happens sometimes. Relax. We've got it here. And so did Andrew. 5 people again. Yes, Gabe. Absolutely. Hello, boys. I'm back. That you are. Be the change. Absolutely, says Taylor Allen. A very smart woman, by the way. Good stuff, Joshua Cole Allen. I got to say, all of the guys that we have here, you have your significant others. You did a good job. If they back you, if they're on the show with you, if they're not bored by you, if they support you, they are definitely people that you should support. So they support you, support them, take care of them, and they'll take care of you. No preseason games. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Holy five-way. Andrew Sad is everything. Joshua Cole Allen with the hearts. Levi McDonald, how can I get on an episode? Well, you can call the phone line if you want to. When we're taking phone calls, we're not taking phone calls right now, Levi, but welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. We're on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And of course, I think I should put out the big announcement again. Landry Football Network.com. Landry, we're part of the Landry Football Network. It's LandryFootball.com. We're going to be on 5 days a week. We're going to be on 3 days. I tell you what, I will take another call. Let's go out to Curtis. Curtis, what's on your mind tonight?
Nothing, man. I just want to tell you, man, I appreciate you guys every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, man. You guys, I'm going through a rough patch of my life right now, man. Listening to you guys, man, just it warms my heart being true sports fans and just, taking everything, just being a sports fan. Because it's no crap. There's no crap when I listen to you guys and Rick and Nick and Alex and Josh and everybody. You guys just tell it from the heart, man. I appreciate that about you guys.
Absolutely,
that's all
man.
I really wanted to say. Like, you guys are just awesome.
Hey, I got some other great news. We're going to be on 5 days a week on the Sports Web. The 3 nights we're going to cover the Bucs. The 2 nights, the Tuesday and the Thursday, we're going to be doing an NFL, around the NFL type of show. So we're going to have NFL guests. That's not to say we're not going to talk Bucs because it's our bread and butter, but we're going to try to, come out of that box and talk a little NFL, of course, a part of Landry Football Network, LandryFootball.com.
I've been sitting here watching you and the guys, and I've been watching Chappelle. I've been binge watching the Chappelle show all day. And it's
good stuff, man. Well, I'm glad
I just thank you, man. I just appreciate you guys so much because, me having bad vision, man, listening to somebody who knows what they're talking about is just great for me.
Absolutely, man. Well, that's what we try to strive for here on the Sports Web. We're glad we can entertain you. I know you're going through a rough time. You lost a family member, so stay strong. Keep on watching the Sports Web, and we'll do our best to not only entertain you, but also educate you at the same time. All right, boss?
All right, brother.
All right, man. Hang in there. Happy 4th. There you go. Good stuff. I love to hear that. I always love to hear that. Love to hear he's one of my favorite callers. I know, Gabe, you called. Hold your call off on Monday. Of course, Turf Talk tomorrow, 10 o'clock a.m. for Alex Fleming. Then Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, who wanted to get on tonight, he's going to have a special edition of Couple Ray on July 4th. So definitely keep on watching Bucs Report, and we'll be back on Monday night with the Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend, Mr. Al Keck. 40 years of sports broadcasting experience, WTSP Channel 10, WFTS Channel 28, and he will debut his own show on Tuesday night, I believe at 8 o'clock, called The Al Keck Show with his guests. So definitely keep on watching Bucs Report. All right, Gabe, guess the controversial statement I wanted to make earlier was made for me by the OKC Buck. Taylor Allen, the NFL Players Association, also laid out the potential 4-stage plan of protocols for a unique preparation period that would replace the preseason. The first 3 days would include medical physicals to ensure the health and well-being of all players, followed by 21 days of conditioning, strengthening program, 10 days of non-padded and non-contact practice. Finally, 14 days of 10 practices before the season starts. I would rather this scenario for healthy players and hopefully a healthy season. Taylor Allen, thanks a lot for chiming in. Good stuff. S. Nurse. Also, injuries. Edelman has been the same since, has not hasn't been the same since Detroit game. If they lose him, there isn't a team in the NFL who's scared of that offense, if anyone is to begin with. Good stuff. S. Nurse, Taylor Allen. Will players be given the opportunity to opt out based on the risk factors? If so, how many will or do you think would take that option? I'm not really sure. I think there were going to be some players that may opt out because it's not a safe situation, and I don't blame them. It's a shame because you're going to miss them, but I don't know. I don't know how that works out, Taylor. It's a great question. Cleveland is following the lead of Washington, changing the Indians' name. Thoughts, everyone? I don't know what to think. I'm really kind of tired of the whole scenario. Ain't gonna happen. Gabe says that would be completely unnecessary. Here's the story of the talented show host who was bringing on 4 very talkative men. All of them were sports fanatics, just like Peter. The newest analyst is Joshua. That's the way they become the Bucs Report bunch. Good stuff. Taylor Allen, how is Canada Day? Big board. Dylan, happy late Canada Day. Let's see. Freeze. Canada Day, always a blast, my friend. Taylor Allen, regardless whether you sign the waiver or not, you would still put others at risk, especially those who have compromised immune system. Did you stop at a gas station after the game or open a door someone else would touch after you? Not worth the risk. That's how some people feel. I'm fine watching it on TV, especially so I don't spread it to my mom or my stepdad. I mean, there's a lot of people who feel like that. I don't fault you for it. Hey, I'm back. And now the show seems to be over. Washington Warriors. Gabe, have a safe 4th of July. Don't blow off your hands. Okay, good stuff. Dwayne Beatty, really good job with having all of the best with BR. And especially thank you very much to Mr. Rick Brown, who always stands up for our Polk County, Florida. And great job, Peter H. Blake. Thank you, Uncle D. Appreciate you. Dylan says, another great show, Peter. Your dedication is unmatched. Appreciate you, Dylan. We're going 5 days a week, so stay tuned. Damn, BVEV has a problem with Oklahoma. And, not my fault. My state's only known for basketball and tornadoes. So on that note, once again, thanks to all of our guests tonight. The legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions, It's Sports Mag. Of course, we had Ozzy, the sports junkie, on a little bit later. Of course, Anthony Bamonde, one of our newest writers here. Check out his stuff. Mr. Rick Brown, more buzz than the Charlotte Hornets, came on with us. We had Joshua Colan, one of the newest writers here, grinding away. Of course, Mr. Rick Hughes. And, of course, the big board himself from Canada, Mr. Andrew Fulbear. So, again, thanks a lot for joining me here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Join the 65,000 following we have here on Facebook. Of course, we're on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitter. Go like and follow and do 3 things for me on this early Saturday morning. Happy 4th. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Have a great weekend. You're now in the Sports Web, a sports talk show for the hardcore fan. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense.
At Life's a Beach Realty, we're all about life on the beach. Stunning Panama City Beach and one of the most beautiful properties on the Gulf Coast, Shores of Panama. Radiant, elegant, and spectacular. Steps away from white sugar sand, every room overlooks the turquoise of the Gulf of Mexico. Come in for your tour today. Life's a Beach Realty is your gateway to Shores of Panama, the shores, and a whole lot more.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
Bruce Arians here with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. During these difficult times, it's important that we all show we care about our community's health. You could spread COVID-19 without knowing it. Wear a mask, wash your hands, keep your distance from each other, stay strong, and go Bucs.
Realizing my potential has been what my career has been all about. Things that I've dreamed about have actually come true.
And the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36. Unbelievable.
Things have happened in my life as I kind of hoped they would happen. It's been, just a complete evolution. You know, how I just kept kind of fighting and clawing to continue to power forward. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you keep trying to make progress. So when I look at over 20 years, I look how far I've come. But there's not one step that I took where I realized, look how far I've come. But those series of steps that I put together, I go, wow, that's quite a journey.